Think and Grow Rich has sold over 15 million copies worldwide. It is known for being one of the best, if not the best book to become wealthy, rich, and to achieve whatever goals you want in your life. I went through the book and wrote down tons of diagrams and descriptions, and I break it down so that's easy to digest, to understand, and so that you know all of the principles that you need to be wealthy, happy, and successful and achieve your dreams. Let's dive in. Okay, Think and Grow Rich starts with thinking. Now you might be like, why does this matter for making money? Just teach me how to make money and then I'll make money. What do I need to do here? But your actions here actually come from how you think. Because if you don't know how to think and what to do, your actions that need to happen will not be in alignment with the money. And so right away in Think and Grow Rich, it talks about the power of your thoughts. Okay? And it talks about this gentleman, Mr. Barnes. And he really, really, really wants to work for Thomas Edison and get to know him. You guys know Thomas Edison? He invented the light bulb. Oh. Okay? He really wanted to, but this guy, he didn't have anything of value, nothing of value. He didn't have a connection. He didn't even know him. He didn't know. How is he going to work with one of the best inventors of all time? And in this book, it teaches you how you should think so that you can act your way to achievement. Which achievement will reach your goal. You'll get money. You'll be happy. And something I'm very passionate about, you'll reach your potential. So this guy, Mr. Barnes, did end up working with Thomas Edison. How? Okay, I told you he doesn't have connections. He doesn't have the money. What are the things? So he knows, first off, thoughts are things. Okay? This is so powerful. Even if you're focusing on stupid stuff, you're getting worked up about stupid things. You're saying mean things to yourself. You are saying rude things to yourself. You're saying that you don't believe. You have a lack of belief. You don't think it's possible. You think the world is evil or awful. Even if there's parts of it, you're feeding that. And that's becoming a thing, a possession. That is becoming reality because you thought that. It's not becoming reality because it's reality. It's becoming reality because that's what you thought. And so he knew that thoughts are things. He also had a burning desire. I have a video on my channel. If it's not out, it will be. But burning desire. Have you seen that in kids when they want it? Maybe they want a sleepover. I know I used to want a sleepover. And then, sometimes it would be a no from my parents. And, I just let it be. But most of the time, it was my best friend. We had so much fun together. And we're like, why can't we? And we wanted it so badly. We desired it so bad. It was burning. We persisted. We kept asking. And we were probably super annoying. But we asked and asked and asked. And we came up with ideas. Or we had presentations. Or we would persist. And we would keep asking. And we would give them good arguments. Not trying to be disrespectful, but just trying to get what we wanted. And eventually, a lot of times, we would get the sleepover. Yay! But it started with that burning desire. Just for Thomas Edison, he really desired it. So we have to know that our thoughts are things. What we think will come out into reality. Okay? So we want to put these good things into our mind so that we then get these good thoughts. And then we really got to want it. We have to want it. It is difficult to get some of these things, to work with someone like Thomas Edison. But it starts with desire, deciding what you want So what do you want? And then you got to want it bad enough. Okay. Other part of it is that it was definite. Okay. It was very clear. So he wanted to work with, actually, and I think I said for before, with Thomas, not for. So Oprah has said this. Most people don't get where they want to go because they don't know. So you have to know where you want to go so you can start getting there. If you don't know, you're not going to take the path that will get you there. So it was very, very definite, clear, and he then translated that desire into reality. And that's what we want, right? We want what we want to become our reality. And that's what this book teaches you all about. Okay, let's stay on this a little more. I think this is the first story for a reason. So, Mr. Edison, how did Mr. Barnes end up working with the Thomas Edison? Remember, with, not just for. So it actually started with for, okay? He actually ended up working with him. Okay, so he went down, he figured it out, and then he started working for him. Okay, he was like an employee for him. Okay, that's a start. Remember, you have to start somewhere. It doesn't just automatically happen. Like his biggest desire and goal is here, but it might start smaller and eventually you could get here. It's just like walking up a staircase. If it's a big staircase, are you probably going to jump all the way up here? Or do you need to actually take some steps? Maybe you could skip a step or two, but usually you have to start here and go one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? I've heard before. One bite at a time. Okay, so you have to be willing to start here to get here. And I think a lot of times we have this big goal that's great and people will stop because it takes these steps and you don't always know the clear steps. It's not always super obvious for the eye to see. And that's why we're talking a lot today about the brain and the mind, because even though we don't see it in reality yet, keyword is yet, we don't see it, it's not here. If we use the right brain strategies, eventually it will be in reality, okay? Now, with our desires, another thing you have to have is determination. Okay, so when you want something bad enough, you're probably going to be determined. You're probably going to be persistent. Just like I talked about with that sleepover or something you really want, we were determined. We were kids. We loved spending time together. We knew sleepovers were super, super fun. And so we had that determination. We had that desire, but that helped us be determined and keep our focus. Okay, so you don't want to change your desire. If you want to have the sleepover, if you want a nice strawberry banana smoothie, don't settle for just an apple. Okay, sometimes in life that's what we're going to get. But even if I get an apple from someone, I'm going to still focus on this smoothie because that is what I really want. Okay, and so he talks about how Barnes had a bulldog determination, like very, very determined, very, very fierce. He wasn't going to give up. He was very just, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going. And that's what eventually, after months and months went by, he was working for him. But eventually he was in the office and he realized that Mr. Edison had created a dictating machine. Okay, a new invention. And a lot of the salesmen didn't want to sell it or thought it was crazy or that it was going to take a lot of effort. And Barnes, instead of having this thinking and mentality, saw it as an opportunity. And so we have to be looking for the opportunities. And in the book, it talks about how sometimes the opportunities don't seem like it or it doesn't come in the way we thought. Like maybe Mr. Barnes thought that he was going to, do something with the light bulb with him. Okay, he was like, I want him to be at the light bulb. I want to be at the light bulb. But maybe his desire really was about working with him. So he didn't specify, I want to work with a light bulb with him, right? But he's like, oh, this is his great invention. Maybe I'll do something with him with that and we could create a new product. No, all he said was, I want to work with him. So he was open to this machine, even if other people were like, this is crazy, this is stupid. He's like, I want to work with him. I don't care what I do. I want to work with him and I will try to do this. So he became the top salesman here. So he went out and sold and sold and sold and sold and sold. And eventually he actually sold it so well that Thomas Edison gave him a contract to sell it all over the world. And he even started saying and packaging it as made by Edison, installed by Barnes. Amazing. What? So he's literally in the same sentence of this huge invention. He's working with him. He's doing it together. Okay. And he actually created a partnership. You could think that this is still a sales thing and he's still an employee, but no, he eventually created a partnership with Thomas Edison and he got a contract and he got extra money and stuff from all the sales that he did and believing in that product. And belief is a really important thing too. Being willing to believe in yourself, believe in your goals, believe that it could happen. It all starts there. And so decide what you want. It starts with the decision, decide, and then you got to have that desire, and then you got to keep going. And that's a big part that we'll talk more about. People don't continue on. They don't believe. They don't continue on in their life, but you have to. You have to. You have to. You can do it. All right, we're going to talk about another story. It's called 3 Feet from Gold. Okay, so if you can imagine from the title, if this is the gold or the treasure you seek or the goal or the outcome you want, let's say 1, 2, 3 feet away. And what we're going to talk about is people usually stop here. They've gone along the journey and they've probably gone along for a long period of time. If we're here, they've probably been like here, they've gone over here, they've gone up here, they've gone along. Maybe I'll just do this. It'll take me a long time to do the dotted lines, but they've been going. And eventually they've been going and they're going to stop here. They're like, okay, I'm done. Like I've been going for a year, I've been going for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Like I'm clearly not going to get it. I've been believing, but I'm just going to stop. Like I'm going to stop. But you could be 3 feet from gold. Okay. And I actually have this book, 3 Feet from Gold. It's from Think and Grow Rich, but it's excellent if you ever want to read it. But it talks about the most common cause of failure, or one of them. Common cause of failure. Okay, and I think it's important to juxtapose this versus the other story because clearly they figured it out. That one guy, Mr. Barnes, figured it out, with Thomas Edison. So if he would have quit though, or stopped, he wouldn't have gotten there. And so a lot of people stop. You can't, because the most common cause of failure is quitting when you're momentarily overtaken by defeat. Okay, so key things here. Momentarily. For example, YouTube. Okay, I'm on the journey. I've seen like Nisha. She's an amazing finance YouTuber. She achieved success earlier. It took her about 1 to 2 years to build a lot of subscribers. And she's almost at 2 million subscribers and has helped so many people. Humphrey Yang, another finance YouTuber, he started with TikTok. Okay, he started with TikTok and magically, like there wasn't financial content. So he kind of created his own luck and he noticed, ooh, here's a gap in the market. Here's an opportunity. And so he started posting and he posted 1 video a day for like 100 days, 200 days, something like that. And then he just blew up to over 1 million and he has a YouTube channel and stuff. So his success got there faster. And so when I'm on my channel, I've been doing it for over 2 years and probably have 3,000 subscribers or so right now. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. And I've had reached over 1 million people. Like, that's amazing. Like, so cool that someone would want to watch this and getting value from this. So cool. But is that here? They did this in a year or two. So should I just go, well, I didn't get there now, so I'm just never going to get here. I'm never going to be able to reach more people. Like, I'm so grateful that I've helped this many people. Like, that is awesome. That's a gift. That's a blessing. And I've helped even more because I've reached more, even if they don't subscribe. But I guess I should just stop because I don't have 1 million subscribers. No. Okay. I'm never going to reach more people if I stop. Okay. Is it a guarantee that I'll have 1 million subscribers one day? No, there's no guarantee, but there's definitely a guarantee if I stop. And the funny thing is, and I have a video on it, and maybe I'll put something here, or I'll just draw a quick graph. I did a YouTube video on this, but I have gotten coached by Ali Abdal and his team, and he has over 6 million subscribers. I love his personality, his vibe, and what he's created on YouTube as a teacher and entrepreneur and just a good person in the world. But I've read his course and I've also watched the videos, and he said there's one section on people's success, and every chart looks like this. Okay? Boom. 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 Okay? So it's crazy. But every person who was successful in his community, a successful alumni or alumnus, they're posting and posting and posting. And this is years, 1 year, maybe 2 years, 3 years. It's like, okay, maybe I went up a little bit. And then all of a sudden, something goes viral, something happens, and boom, 700,000 subscribers. Nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening. Boom, video goes viral, 900,000 subscribers eventually. Okay, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening until something happens. But if they would have stopped here, if this was the video that went viral, because sometimes videos go viral 6 months to a year or more later. But if this was the video, then okay, even if I stopped, eventually it would have gone viral. But if this was the video that went viral and I stopped here, 3 feet from gold, would I have gotten that gold? Because I'm like, nothing's happening. This is all we see. This is all I see. All I'm seeing is this. Or like, okay, maybe a tiny bit of growth. Cool. But like, it's a lot of work to do this. It's a lot of work and time and energy. And like, you think, am I stupid thinking like, am I actually helping people? Is this actually like, I don't really care about the money. I'm like, is this valuable? I feel like I could help people. Am I actually as good as I say? Is it actually as valuable as I think? And so then you're like, maybe I'm not meant for this. Okay, I'm just going to stop. But you could have been right here. Boom. And I've helped all the people and been like, oh my gosh. And obviously as a YouTuber, like clearly I see people are still watching or they'll comment and they're like, thank you. And this helped. And I appreciate this. And like, whatever. So this is amazing. And this was what helps me to continue on and go, okay, there's someone benefiting. There's someone benefiting. There's someone benefiting. I don't need to reach hundreds of thousands. That would be awesome because I just want to help more people in the world and reduce the suffering. And clearly that would reduce a lot of suffering. But at least there is just the one. At least the one, okay? But you could be 3 feet from gold. And it talks about that in this story. And it talks about this guy, Darby, who ended up becoming one of the most successful insurance salesmen. But he went out and they were digging for some gold. And they were literally digging and digging and digging. And they spent so much time because they had heard that, hey, if you go out here, there's a lot of gold. So they're like, okay, let me go do it. Just like you hear, hey, YouTube, I could reach a lot of people. I could help a lot of people. This would be amazing. I love this. But then you start posting and then it's like, okay, it's actually not working. Oh no. So he went out, didn't find any gold. But guess where he stopped? Because in the story, it talks about some other people came by and decided to go, they bought the equipment because they gave up. They sold the equipment. So they took the equipment, they went back to the spot, and then they started, and literally 3 feet later, gold. Okay? That is what is so freaking hard, because you don't know when the gold's going to show up. From the outside looking in, like when you're watching a movie and you're like, don't go into that room. There's this person here and he's going to jump out at you. It's obvious from our standpoint because we're watching the movie and we can see and we saw what happened. But in life, you can't see the results. You can train yourself to see it. And that's what we're going to talk about on this channel and in this video right here, is that you could train your brain to see it. No, I know I'm going to get the gold. It's there. It's there. But even if you believe it's there, you don't know exactly where it is. You could say, oh, it's in 5 feet, but is it actually going to be in 5 feet? You can't fully guarantee that, right? And so that is the hard part. And I have a lot of videos on my channel about seeing it to believe it, burning desire, continuing on, persisting. But that's why you have to keep going. And so we're going to learn in this book too, how do we persist? How do you continue on when it's hard? When you have no idea when, if, or how it will work out. Because even though you don't know when, if, or how, that doesn't mean it won't happen and that the gold isn't there. I want you to know, before success happens, so before our success, yay, we achieved it, there's typically temporary defeat. Okay? There's typically loss. So even though you have this loss, does that mean you're never going to get here? The only way you're never going to get here is if you see the losses and the struggle and the hardship as I'm done. If you quit, if you're like, this is too hard, this is too much, I don't want it anymore, I don't desire it anymore, and you stop. Because you could still go through all this stuff and crap and hard things and still get the outcome. You have to continue on. It is part of the path to success. Failure is the path to success. Hardship is part of achieving success, but that doesn't mean you stop. Keep going. And notice it said temporary defeat. So defeat, like you're done, you got defeated, you lost, okay? Wah, sad. But temporary, it's just part of it. Like even on YouTube, like it's so funny. There's videos that do amazing and it's like woo, 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 woo. And so I continue on. But then eventually it's like a really slow period. Nothing's happening. And it's like, seems like it's going down. And I'm like, oh, this is sad. And what's wrong? And I'm horrible. And oh man. But then I pick myself up and I keep posting, I keep going, and then it's like, woo, and I get even better and like even more views or something great happens or my video quality gets better. But then we keep going and then you're going to face this temporary defeat again. This is temporary. It isn't forever. So if you can keep going through the temporary and know, hey, this is temporary. Just like there's this song, every storm runs out of rain. It typically doesn't just rain forever. Eventually, it ceases. Keep going. All right, next story. So there was this farmer, okay? Let's call him Farmer Joe. And there's a sharecropper's child, okay? A little girl. And he was working in the fields and in the farm and doing his work, okay? Da-da-da-da-da, doing his work. But this child came up to him and said, hey, my mommy, or mammy is what they say, my mommy says, send 50 cents. Okay? And he was like, no, I'm not going to send 50 cents. All right. And Mr. Darby is actually watching over here. He's watching. Okay? And he's watching just to see what happens because he's observing all these lessons. And then she just stays there. He says, run home, go home, go, leave. And he's kind of fierce about it and rude and mean. She says, okay, but she stands firm. Let's write that down. Key, she stands firm. And he's like barking at her and like, you need to go home, leave us alone, run home, go away. And he yelled, I told you to go home, go. And she said, and then he's like, I'll take a switch to you. Like he was threatening. And Darby over here is like, oh gosh, am I going to witness a murder? Like, run, girl, what are you doing? But then she sat there and she screamed and yelled, my mammy says I need my 50 cents. And she yelled it and she took a step forward. Brave. Holding her ground, standing firm, courage to even step forward and to be so confident and bold. I need it. I am not leaving until you say yes. And eventually, right after that, he gave her the 50 cents. Okay, what can we learn from this story? A lot of things. You have to know what you want, like we talked about. You have to know, but you have to stand firm. Now, clearly, don't take no for an answer in certain situations, right? Like clearly if someone says no and like consent and all of that, like respect that. Clearly, like we teach that. But even with your kids or something where they're wanting something and you're like, just stop. Like I said, no, it's actually a skill to achieve success. To be willing to be told no, 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 and say, I'm going to keep going until I get a yes. Kris Jenner has said, if you hear no, you're just talking to the wrong person. So sometimes maybe go find a different person. If you're in door-to-door sales, you might hear no, 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 no. Eventually someone will say yes. So don't think that the no means you're horrible, you're bad, or your product's awful. You might just have to keep going till you hear the yes. Sometimes you could keep with the same person and you just need to find a different angle. Etc. So just be super mindful that like you have to persist. This is a lesson on persistence and being persistent. Even there was 5,000 applicants for this job and I was like just scrolling and trying to find anything. I was desperate, and you can make $250,000, $200,000 a year in about 2 years. Most of the employees at the company made that. And I was like, this is my chance. This is my shot. But there's 5,000 applicants. And so, you send in your cover letter, you send in your resume, but then I don't just let it be to chance. Instead, a few years ago, I called, I emailed, sent the email. I also called. I called multiple times. And eventually they were like, is this Elizabeth? Is this you? Is this the girl from the email? Yes, it's me. All right, we'd love to interview you. What? I persisted. I kept calling. I didn't just go, okay, let me send out my resume and cover letter with 5,000 other applicants. Good luck, Elizabeth. Good luck being seen. Okay? And then I didn't just email. Okay, I emailed, I tried. Oh, and I called once. No. Persist. Okay? Now, sometimes you have to change your strategy. Like I know I get reached out to by a lot of people to work with me or things like that. And sometimes some people will reach out one time. Some people will reach out multiple times. Eventually, most people stop. But it doesn't mean you will get the yes, because there are some people that reach out and I'm probably not going to work with them, right? And that's okay. Hopefully they find someone that they will. Because right now I'm just focusing on this stuff and etc. Unless it's like a no-brainer opportunity, But persistence is usually when you eventually happen. And maybe they reached out to me, but then they're reaching out hopefully to other people. And hopefully they're going to get their yes eventually. So maybe you're like, well, I want to work with this person. Okay. Maybe you can get your skills better, get these things. There's other things you can do, right? Like Thomas Edison. And our first gentleman, Mr. Barnes, he really wanted to work with Thomas Edison. And eventually he did. So How can you? I even did this. I put it on a vision board and had a goal, and I really wanted to connect with certain people. There were a few people that I put on my vision board. Okay. And I was like, I really want to be friends with them. I really want to work with them. I really want to be with them. And so I figured out how to do that. And I started connecting with them. I started providing value to them. I started commenting. I started sharing. I started helping support their cause. I started doing that because I actually loved who they were as people. I loved their mission. And I wanted the opportunity to help support them and to connect with them. I was like, you guys are awesome people. I would love to connect. Okay. Is that always going to work? Are some people going to see that and go, okay, I see what you're doing. Like, I really we're not going to get this opportunity. Sure. But you're definitely not going to get it if you don't even try. Please remember, one idea can change your life, your entire life. Okay. We talk about how the choices can change your life. We talked about having unprotected sex. Okay. With someone you don't necessarily want to marry. Or even if you do, and you're not ready for the child, right? That changes your life. Changes your life. If you decide to drink and drive. Okay, you might be okay, but you might hurt someone, or kill someone, or yourself. One choice to decide to pursue someone that you think is awesome or find attractive. Like my husband reaching out to me. And now we're married. Changed our entire lives because he was bold and brave and pursued me. J.K. Rowling, writing Harry Potter. And then that book, but then going to publishers and finally on the 12th or 13th publisher, got published and now billionaire and impacted millions of people. Sarah Blakely, Spanx, shapewear. That idea, along with work and other things, changed millions of women's lives and her own, billionaire. Okay? All it takes is one. And Sarah says, ideas are gifts from the universe or from God. And so capture them, have a way to capture them. I like to have my notes. I have a pencil and paper, capture them. And know this, maybe your ideas have not worked yet, but all it takes is one. Go find the one. All right, next, you are the master of your fate. The captain of your soul. All right, so what does this mean? You're the one in control. Your good things that happen and the poor things that happen come back to you. Okay? We have the power to control our thoughts, what we think, what we don't think. And there's a vibration, there's an energy. It's the law of physics that adapts to how we are thinking and who we are. So if we're thinking this good energy, this belief, this good, this optimism, all this good stuff, and we're vibrating here, that is us, guess what we're going to get out? We're going to get more of the same. Belief, good, optimism, okay? It is all dependent of us. And so you have to work really hard to stay in this place and become a magnet. Your brain is a magnet. And so make sure you're feeding it and magnetizing what you actually want. A lot of people unintentionally focus on the negative, they focus on the bad things of the world, they focus on the hard things of the world, and then that gets magnetized back to them, right? And so instead, we want to be really conscious that we are the master of our life, and that our most dominating thoughts is what's going to create our reality. And I've actually experienced this before, like when I've been focusing on YouTube and helping and serving and growing in my family and beautiful things, I've gotten a lot of that back. But there were times in my life when I focused on like things that I couldn't change, things that were sad, things that were annoying or frustrating. And guess what? I got all of that stuff back. It was not fun. I see this all the time as a teacher, like watching students, like they literally come into class and you can tell they're like, and I'm like, how can we fix that so they can be feeling this? And it's all from the brain and how they think about it. So be mindful what thoughts dominate you. Do what you need to do to move through them, and know that your energy, your choices, you are the master of your fate and the captain. And so you get to say, hey, no, I'm not going to focus on these stupid thoughts. I'm not going to focus on these stupid things. I am going to do the work, even though it's hard, and figure out how to get the happiness, how to get the wealth, how to get the relationships, how to get the good things, because it's up to you and it is possible for you. Does anyone know who Steven Spielberg is? Anyone? Okay, he directed some of the most famous movies, but there's a story in Think and Grow Rich that talks about him where he was taking a tour. So you're just in this little car. Sorry, it's not the best. Or whatever tram thing. Taking a tour. Universal Studios. I've done that before. Super cool if you ever get a chance to do it. So he's just sitting here, all the people in the tram, taking their tour from the tour guide. Woo, happiness. And here's Steven. Steven is the master of his fate, just like anyone else. He sneaks off to Universal and off of the tour. Okay. This is interesting too. And a little aside, like Jesse Itzler talks about, and even Sarah Blakely, like, Jesse had to create his own luck. Sarah, she got in her Spanx into this department store, but then they were in like the lingerie section, which was like the sleepiest part of the store. And so she got it by the cash registers, and she just put a little one without approval, but put it there. Right? Or Jesse came up with some ideas too that were like creative. So sometimes you have to create your own luck because you're the one in charge. So is someone going to create luck for you? Is someone magically just going to sell the Spanx for you or do this for you? Is Steven Spielberg going to just magically get an opportunity? Sometimes that's very rare that this stuff happens, but usually it's created. It's created. So he went to Universal and he ended up hiding, and he ended up like slowly making his way in there, and he created like a desk in Universal Studios and put his name in there, and he dressed really nicely. He was in like a suit. So you have to think creatively and smartly. He was dressed super nice. And so people just thought he was like an intern working there over the summer. And eventually, they found out how good he was and they let him stay. And then he made this one film called The Sugarland Express. And it actually got critical acclaim, but it didn't do well in the box office. And that's okay, right? Like sometimes we have failure. Failure is the path to success. We have to be willing to try in order to succeed. And then eventually he actually got this opportunity because Jaws came up and he really, really wanted to direct it. And eventually he was able to, and we all know what happened with that. And it broke box office records. It did amazing. And then eventually he did The Color Purple. He did the Indiana Jones series. E.T., Empire of the Sun, all these different things. But it talks about being open-minded, being open to how your success will happen, being creative, thinking outside the box. and being willing to say, I am the master of my fate. So I have to do something to make it, just like with trying to get that job. And instead of just saying, oh, I put my resume in, gosh, I've applied to hundreds of things, nothing's happening. What have you done to try to make it happen? I had a sign on my desk back in the day. It says, make it happen. How can you make it happen? All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is desire and no other choice. Okay. So we know that we need to desire something. We have to want it if we want to get it. Okay, anything. You can't get it if you don't want it. Now, you might just randomly get it. Like maybe someone knows you want a smoothie and then you magically get it. But you probably didn't just get it. It was your mom and she knows you love smoothies and she's like, here you go. You had wanted it. And then she's like, oh, I know Elizabeth loves it when we give her smoothies. Here, let me surprise her with a smoothie. Okay. It starts with the desire. You don't get something if you don't want it. But then we also want to give ourselves no other choice. So there's a story in Think and Grow Rich that talks about this great warrior. Pa-pa, here's a sword. Cha-cha-cha. Great warrior. And he had to make a decision on the battlefield. There was this super powerful foe, like a David and Goliath. Rawr. Even more powerful with a more powerful sword. And they had come across on these boats. And then these guys were on the shore. And they had come onto the land to fight them. And instead of leaving the boats, what they did, this warrior, the leader, decided to burn them. Burned the boats. What? Oh my gosh. What? This is their backup. What happens if they're like too crazy and mean and they can't win and they have to retreat? That's the point. There was no other choice. Like YouTube. This is what I want to do. God called me to do this. I want to do this. So am I going to go, okay, this has been 2 years. Well, this has been great. I've impacted these people. I've made some cool videos. Like I've grown a lot as a person. Cool. All right. Time to go back and like pick something else. Go back to the drawing board or go back to a nice fancy hat. Let's go pick another name or idea out of the hat. Whatever. No. Give yourself no other choice. No, I chose YouTube. This is the path. This is what I want. This is going to happen. This is what I desired, right? This is what I desired. And so this is my choice. Like win or win. That is the option. Like I listened to a song, like it was like, I got to make it or make it. I got to make it or make it. What? I got to make it or make it. This is the option. That is the option. It's called option if you're interested. The option is make it or make it. It's not make it or not make it. It's make it or make it. Win or win. You know? And so sometimes when you don't give yourself another choice, like you could think that's stupid, but actually they ended up conquering it because that changed their thinking and their attitude and how they attacked it. If you know there's a backup, if you know that you can just go run home and like there's a safety net or a safety blanket that's going to catch you, you're not going to act the same way. If you're like, this is my life on the line, this is my whole existence, everything on the line. No, I'm going to charge it even harder. We're going to go crazy to attack it and to burn them out. That's how you have to attack it. And part of it is hard because I can get super motivated with YouTube. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm meant to do this. Come on, Elizabeth, let's go. And even hear me talking right now, I'm like passionate and motivated. That's a different energy than just, yep, I'm going along. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll make it. Like this is doing good. This isn't. No, you got to go boom, 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 boom and continue on. And like maybe it's easy to do for a week. Maybe that's easy to do for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 2 years, but what happens when it's 2 years and you're still not exactly where you want to be? Are you still going to be pushing and going, this is the option, this is what I need to do? Are you? So what do you want? And then give yourself no other choice. And then pour your energy, your heart, your soul, all of it into it. Keep going because you could be what? 3 feet from gold. And just because you haven't achieved it yet doesn't mean you won't, right? A lot of successful people, it took time to then reach their outcome. If they would have stopped, they wouldn't have reached it. And so, of course, there's stories that don't work out. But if you really want it, you can get it. Keep going. Okay, so we know money is powerful. Money is simply a tool, right? To be able to buy what we want, do what we want. Maybe we have more time, freedom, all of those things. But simply wishing for it won't make it happen, okay? So we could want it. That is really, really important, but that doesn't necessarily mean you will just get it. You have to want it, but then you have to do actions and things to get there. So here's a practical little exercise that you guys can do. It's in the book on page 23. So fix in your mind the exact amount of money that you desire. Okay? Exact amount. Okay? Is it $100,000 a year? Is it $100,000 a month? Yes, I have friends that make that and even more. It's possible. So expand your mind, expand your thinking on what is possible. Okay? You then need to determine what you will give in return. Okay, so remember, we don't just go, ooh, I want this amount of money. You need to know that, but then what are you going to do? What value are you going to give? What are you going to offer? What skill set? Okay? Even if it's a traditional job, if it's a traditional job like, hey, I would love to make $500K a year. You're probably going to, hey, okay, maybe I'll be an anesthesiologist. I'm going to go and I'm going to get all the education. I'm going to do that. Or, hey, $500,000 a year, I'm going to sell luxury or commercial real estate. Or you're like, I am going to figure out like these pimple patches, these acne patches, and we're going to do that. And then they ended up making even more than $500,000 a year. But what are you going to give? The third part, establish a definite date. Okay, you have to know the date. So I'm going to do this by blank. So let's see, by December 2026. Okay, whatever that is for you. Decide your date. A definite plan. Notice it is like definite. They've said a definite date, a definite plan that you are actually going to follow. So what is the plan to get that? Okay? Even if you're ready, even if you're not ready, what is the plan? What do you need to do? Like if I'm doing YouTube, okay, how many videos do you need to post a week? What is my editing process? What content am I going to be doing it on? Those things, like what equipment do I need? Like what is the plan to get it into action? Or hey, I want to become a anesthesiologist if I'm just starting college, okay, it's going to take me a while. So by the time I'm 35, I want to make at least $500,000. And so I'm giving myself a longer time horizon, but that's realistic. And I need to go make sure I get good enough grades and get into medical school. I need to study this degree, et cetera. I need to maybe move to this location, et cetera. So what do you need to do? Write out a clear, concise statement. Okay, and put all of this together. So write the exact amount of money you desire, what you will do. Like, I want $100,000 a year or $500,000 a year for helping people receive anesthesia before their surgeries. I will do this by, it's probably going to be like May 2035 or something because it takes time to do that. I am going to enroll in college and get the education needed, etc. Okay, so that's the path. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, it might be a little bit more tricky, but it's even more important to make it clear on what you're doing and what you're providing value on so you can know. I'm JK Rowling. I'm desiring, at least $100,000 a year because I'm a single mother and I need some money to take care of my kids. I will give value in this entertainment and in this book. I will do this I wrote it in May. You know what? I'm going to figure this out by January, and by a publisher, I need to find a publisher by January or by Christmas because I want to have Christmas gifts for my kids. And so there you go. And then what are you going to do to get there? Then you're going to read the statement twice daily. Okay. At night and in the morning. Okay, you want to see, feel, and believe that you're already in possession. Part of getting what you want is kind of believing that you already do it or you have it. Because part of this is that you will start acting like that person. Like if I'm going to be focusing on my grades, if I'm going to be that anesthesiologist, or even with YouTube, like if I actually read that every single day and know why I'm doing it, what I'm doing, what is my goal, I'm going to take the actions that will get me there instead of just like, hey, I really want to create a nice YouTube channel. And then I'm not thinking about it. I'm not doing anything about it, right? You want to actually be conscious of it and continue, and it helps you to stay focused, motivated, and persistent. Create a little index card. I think that would be a great idea for you. You have to plan, prepare, and desire. And something I want you to know, think of these great leaders in life and in the world. All of them were dreamers. So if you don't have a dream, if you are not allowing yourself to dream, to think big, to actually believe when people think you're crazy or delusional or silly or stupid, you're not going to get the outcome you want. Great leaders dream, think big, believe they can do it, believe they can make an impact in the world and make changes in their own lives and the lives of others. Believe. You have to have a definiteness of purpose. Okay? Has to be clear, has to be specific. I talk about being intentional a lot, like knowing what you want and specifically going towards it. But what is your purpose? Okay? Like, what is that purpose? Why? Why are you doing it? What do you want? How are you going to make that happen? Okay? You have to know the purpose and the meaning. Like even with YouTube, hey, I want to reduce the suffering in the world. I want people to reach their potential. I want more people to be happy, healthy, and to thrive. I think life can be amazing, and I want more people to experience the amazing life. I know a lot of great people don't have a lot of money. And so I want more great people to have more money so they can do more good with it, so they can do more good for themselves, their families, the communities, and for the world. So when you have this purpose of why you're doing something, it can help you to have that attitude of persistence, of keeping the faith, of having belief, of knowing you can achieve when things get hard, of deciding, you know what, I'm going to make this bold move and I'm going to burn the boats. You know what, I've been digging or working and digging for gold for 3 years. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years, whatever it is. I am not going to stop because I could be 3 feet from gold. And I could be reaching the people that need to hear this message. What is my purpose? What is my mission? What is my why? And big dreamers have the why. They have the purpose. They have the mission. It's not just for themselves. It's usually for others and for something else. And remember, those who are on the path to achieving their dreams, their desires, their goals, their hopes, their wishes. Anyone, the pioneers of the past, like they talked about Columbus, who was sailing the seas and he was hoping to find new land. Someone who is inventing something or trying to find a cure to a disease. Okay, they have these dreams, desires, and goals. All who succeed in life usually have a bad start. Like if you're at the beginning of a race and you have this bad start, I remember in playing video games and like you could get a boost at the beginning of Diddy Kong Racing and you could get a good start. But sometimes you get a bad start and that happens. And you're probably going to go through heartbreaking struggles and pain and things going down and questioning if it will work out and all of those things. That is how everyone succeeds. Some might experience more than others, some might experience less, but that is the path to achieving the dreams. Okay? And so know that. It's those who keep going, those who learn, those who get better. And it talks about being introduced to your other self. Okay? So if you have this person that started, you're going to grow and change along the way. Even though you might look on the outside like the same person, you might look a little different. But if you look the same, you're not the same. You're not the same. There's another self that has it in your heart and in your mind and in your spirit to become bigger and stronger and to eventually get to your outcomes. And I've seen that even on my YouTube journey, how much I grew before starting the channel, and that's why I started the channel. But then on this journey, I've grown even more. And so I'm going to keep doing that. And are you going to accept the challenge? Are you going to rise to it? Are you going to keep going? Are you going to get better instead of going, oh, here's an obstacle, or I had lots of problems with YouTube or things not working and I'm like, ugh. And instead I chose to learn and rise and get better and stronger. In addition to our desire, our burning desire, our persistence, belief, determination, and going all in, and all of these other principles that we've learned. The author talks about we want to have hope, faith, courage, and tolerance. I think another one that I missed was that open-mindedness as well. Okay? Because closed minds do not create these things. If you are closed, if you think of the negative of the world, the sad things of the world, the hard things of the world, you're not open to possibilities. You're not open to dreaming, hey, I have a dream. I can change. I can improve. We can grow. The world can get better. You have to have an open mind to be able to get those good outcomes, okay? But these basic principles will help you. All of these things will help you achieve success, the author says, when you're ready for it. Taylor Swift, are you ready for it? And so this is key. You might think you're ready for it. I know Steve Harvey talks about this. He's like, God, I'm ready. I'm ready. He's living out of his car. I'm ready. I'm ready. And like years go by and eventually he is ready and he gets the opportunity. But you have to keep the hope. You have to hope and know that things can get better. You have to have the faith and the belief in the good, in the potential, in the possibility, the courage, even if you're scared or worried. Even I've been working on my book for the last, almost 2 years. And part of it, I'm making it really, really good. I just really want it to be amazing, but also just the copywriting and making sure everything is good and it can be scary and whatever, but I'm going to be brave. Or even starting the YouTube channel could be scary, but I'm going to do it anyways. Tolerance. Can you tolerate the feelings that are uncomfortable, that are like, ugh, like I told my husband to start YouTube, I just feel weird right now. Can you tolerate the haters? Can you tolerate people who don't believe? Can you tolerate the challenges that arise when you're doing something of great value? Because when you're doing something big, you're probably going to face bigger things. Like if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? And so there's actually a poem about this that I want to show you. All right, it's right here. Hopefully you can read it. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay me no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty score. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, who you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I would have asked of life, life would have willingly paid. And so this is saying if I would have asked for riches, for happiness, for health, for great relationships, for maybe you have a big goal. Maybe you're like, I want to post to YouTube and like help people. But it's like, well, whoa, what if I want to be like a speaker? What if I want to have a best-selling book? What if I think bigger? Life is going to give you what you ask for and what you get. Like life would give you more. If you're going to stay stuck and in this negative place, life could get you this if you are willing to see that and do the work for it and believe in that. But you're not going to get it if you stay in here. Life will give you what you want and what you desire, but you have to do the work for it and you have to believe that you can get it. I think you guys are getting this, but one more. There's a story about this little boy who cannot speak or talk correctly, okay? But the father started using these tools of planting belief, of planting like the idea that he wanted him to have, like you will be able to speak clearly one day, you will be able to talk clearly one day, and told him you will. It was definite. And then they did actions to get there, and eventually this boy did achieve the outcome. It works. He desired, he had a burning desire for his son to be able to experience these things and do these things like other people could. Okay? And I know like even myself right now, I'm thinking, well, there's probably certain scenarios where, like there are limitations. But even if there are limitations, thinking of those limitations aren't going to help, because maybe he wouldn't fully be able to speak and talk, but he would probably be a lot higher up than if he wouldn't have believed and would have gotten worse and then not enjoyed his life and things like that. And so it usually does behoove you and benefit you to have faith, to believe, to work towards something that is good. Okay, so let's talk about another ingredient to success, wealth, riches, and achieving what you want. It's faith, okay? It's a state of mind that can be induced, right? Faith versus fear. You can induce either of these things by your choices, by your beliefs, by your subconscious mind, okay? And it talks about the power of different things in our lives. And so if we decide to feed our faith, we will be more likely to achieve the outcomes that we desire. There's a lot of reasons to feed fear. There's a lot of reasons to feed worry. Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Oh no. But what if it goes right? What if I believe this? So we want to feed this side in our faith in order to achieve the outcomes that we desire. Feeding the fear and these things will never help us achieve what we actually want. Now, this is Think and Grow Rich, right? So it's how we think. So remember, any thought that we think that gets emotionalized, okay, and that's put with faith or belief, it's like simply believing in something, is automatically going to get into the process of becoming a reality for us. So like even something simple, like if you believe, you have a thought, oh my gosh, this person is trying to hurt me. They did this on purpose and they are being so rude and mean. And I can't believe they would do that. Like I'm thinking that and I'm starting to get angry. I'm like, oh my gosh, they did this choice on purpose. And now I'm getting angry. I'm getting emotional. And then I'm actually having the faith and the belief that they did this on purpose and this. Guess what reality you're going to get in this world? Rah! Anger and mean. I seen this. I just saw this last night. Someone was freaking out over something. And it was like, they had the thought, they heard the information, they emotionalized it, they got angry, upset, worried, fearful, whatever. And then they believed it. They had the faith and then they got the result. Okay, it's the same thing in like a sporting event. If you have a thought, I'm going to win, we're going to crush this. Like any athlete knows that when you have this mentality, when you have this energy and it's emotionalized and you're like, we got this and we're the best. And like you put this emotion into it. You don't just go, yeah, we're going to win today. Let's try to win. It's like, feel that emotion. Do you feel that coming out of me right now? Do you hear it? You can hear it. And I believe it. I know we can do this. You've got this. We can. I believe it. You're going to actually go do what you got to do and you're going to persevere and overcome and you're more likely to win. So your thoughts are so powerful. What you think impacts how you feel, and what you feel impacts what you do, which is your life, right? So what we thought, remember that emotionalized, I think they're out to get me, they're being mean, they're this. So then we feel this way, how dare they? I feel hurt, I feel judged, I feel this. And so then we go lash out or we do this, or we kind of hopefully can stop it here and we don't do that and we go a different path. But it's so powerful. It's powerful to take us down and destroy our lives, and it's powerful to help lift us up in our lives. Mary Kay Ash was the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. Okay? And she attributes her success to two things: confidence, and number two, faith in self. Faith in herself, okay? She had over 250,000 beauty consultants for her, okay? And she actually started in sales and sold Stanley Home products. She attended a sales seminar. It's a new marker. Hopefully that's better. She attended a sales seminar, okay? And she saw tall, pretty, successful women. And this one woman was crowned for being the best at the company's contest. So at the company, number one. And she was like, I'm Mary Kay Ash. And you know what? That's going to be me. I'm going to be like that woman. I'm going to be like that woman who was just crowned. And she actually told the president of the company that that was going to be her the next year. And then the president said to her, I think you will. I think he said somehow. 5 words. Somehow I think you will. She decided right there. Do you see the power of decision? She decided, she believed, she had the burning desire, and she built that in herself. And then she said she's going to do it. And so you can get whatever outcome you want, right? But what do you have to do? You have to decide, you have to believe, you have to have a burning desire, and you have to take the actions along the way that will get you that result. Be like Mary Kay. And Mary Kay actually left some keys to success to share with others so that they could be successful too. And the first thing she said was, imagine that you are successful. Okay, I've even had to do that. I've done that with my YouTube channel, and just in life, I have appreciated the successes that I've had. But imagine it. You always picture yourself in the way you want to see yourself. So picture yourself as you want to see you. Okay, so when you're looking in the mirror, when you're thinking of yourself, how do you want to see you? And start creating that person. And that's where you could do like a vision board. You can create what you want. You can do the healing work on yourself. Like, okay, this is who I am. This is where I am. And I'll probably do this one video. It's like super embarrassing of some of the old pictures of me. And I think everyone could take a bad picture. It's partly just that, but how much I've grown. And so this is where you are. We want to get here. What are the things we need to do? Or where's our dream life? And then we can start building it. Anyone can do it. You always want to think of yourself well. She talks about visualizing this and visualizing yourself and taking alone time. Sarah Blakely, the billionaire founder of Spanx, talks about this too. But take that alone time to really reflect on yourself and what you want. And a key part of this is being in this new environment. Sorry, I said that so I can spell it right. Environment, okay? Because maybe you're in this crappy apartment. I was in this little no stoplight town in a townhouse, and it's okay, but then it became not okay, and I wanted to get over here. And so if you can start visualizing and just keep this in your brain, even though this is the reality, and what can help with that is if you do have the vision board, if you do have your phone, if you do have mentors on your phone, if you are surrounding yourself with books and staying lost in those things, that's going to help keep you focused on getting the outcome you want. The other thing, David Goggins talks about this, but reflecting on past successes. So you don't need to reflect on the negative or reflect on the bad things, but proving that you have achieved something, even if it's something small or it's not exactly what you do want, showing yourself that you have achieved certain things is proof that you can achieve more things. It gives you faith in yourself, which is a key to Think and Grow Rich. You want the definite goals. A lot of these things are going to be similar because this book is teaching you what all these successful people did. You have to have a clear direction, right? Remember, she wanted to specifically be the queen. She wanted to be that person. And so be aware of where you want to go so that you can stay on the right track. Because if you don't define where you want to go, you're going to start here and you're going to go like crazy. Okay? And to get to your goals, you might have to follow this crazy path, but you will stay on the course because you have a clear direction. And lastly, you want to respond positively to life. Okay? I've seen a lot of people and they've had struggles in their life and horrible things happen, but they have a good self-image. They really worked on this. My grandma is super strong and has been through hardship in her life. She's 92 now, but she always takes very good care of herself and takes pride in herself and her image. And so that matters. And then choosing to see the good, choosing to feed the good, and then knowing you have control, okay, of your choices. So what are you going to do next? What are you going to say next? What are you going to feel next? What are you going to create next? Okay, there's always a next. Stop focusing on this or getting lost in other people's sorrows and sadness and drainingness, and ignore all of that and figure out, unless you're trying to solve a problem and create a solution here for them, by all means, figure out the solution and then go help these people. But stay away from that and fill yourself with the good. And remember the boy who could not hear. Do you remember him? Kind of talked about him briefly. Okay? He could not hear yet. It's the growth mindset there. But he had a father who decided to mix faith plus desire for his son to be able to hear. So he wanted it, okay? He believed in it. And then, guess what? That faith and desire, that belief and that want got infused into his son's brain. And his son eventually did learn to hear. But why? Simply because the dad believed, the dad wanted it, and he believed so strongly and so much, it was so intense that it was able to be transferred here. And then it turned out. And I will say that too, even my own parents, and my dad is a huge advocate for this, and my mom is as well, but my dad always, this is little Elizabeth, like anything I did and any like people noticed or like they would say something, compliment me, my dad would make sure that he would just like remind me of how awesome I was. And he would pour this faith and belief into me. And I think he desired to fill my mind with confidence and see my gifts, see my positives. We all have positive things about us. And I think it's one of the greatest gifts we can give our kids. I know Ed Milet, an amazing motivational speaker, talks about how his grandfather would do that. He had lots of grandkids and cousins and stuff. And Ed's grandpa would be like, "You're going to do great things. Great things, Ed. And like, I know we have all them, but you're my favorite." And whether he said that to everyone, right? But like that gets filled in. And Ed did do great things. And he's worth over $500 million, has helped millions of people. And he's even impacted like even one person he's coached, like Dan Martell. He's one of my mentors, and Dan's impacted millions of people. So just think about that. But he said he's going to do great things. And like my dad, my parents saying that about me is helping me. So it's so simple. And there's a lot more to this book, but gosh, it's so like simple, but so clear. And I know I haven't achieved the YouTube thing yet, but so many things in my life have come from wanting it, believing, and continuing on. All right, so we know desire and belief are important. It's this faith. So let's talk more about it. So one of the first rules of faith is to believe you're already in possession of it. So whatever you want, you have to believe that you already have it. Okay? That is key. Now it can seem weird and not make sense, but you have to believe it because you have that energy, that vibration, that confidence, and then you start acting like it too, right? Like if you believe you're healthy or you're capable, at least, of being healthy, you're going to start aligning with that. If you're a healthy person, you're going to drink water. You're going to have your smoothies and whole foods. You're going to go to the gym, get exercise, go to the doctor, like for checkups. You're going to do things that a healthy person would do. You want to believe that you already have it. Second, what you want to do is eliminate or get rid of negative emotions. These do not serve you. This is not helpful. Like it doesn't say reduce them. It says eliminate. So you have to completely get rid of these negative emotions. A mind that has positive emotions and that is not only having them, but it's dominated. Okay, that brain here is dominated by these emotions, is one that will have extreme faith and therefore extreme outcomes. Whatever you feed up here, you will get. I've seen that so many times, and in my life, a lot of times, most of the time feeding with faith, but when I didn't, or I fed it with negative things, negative emotions, because I didn't realize these patterns that I was in, and like, blah, I created more blah. Be careful. And we want this because it's the starting point of all riches. It starts with faith. That's the starting line. Okay? It's the basis of all miracles. Anything that happens, or like these mysteries that can't be explained by science, comes back to faith and people having belief. Okay? Faith. It's the only known antidote to failure. If you fail and if you mess up on the path to success, but you keep believing and you have faith that you are a good player and you can figure it out, like Michael Jordan, mess up, you keep going and practicing, eventually you're going to start making it. But if you believe you can't, or that you're done, do you think you're going to get back up and do the actions to get better and then get the results? No. It's the only known antidote. It's the chemical that mixed with prayer is the only thing that has direct communication to infinite intelligence. Faith is not only required, it is essential. And it's going to be the only way to get you to your goals and your dreams and your desires. Have faith. Be careful, because whatever you say to yourself, even if it's in your head, the world has a way of spitting it out. Okay? Remember, what we put in, we will get out. Okay, if we put triangles in, you're going to get triangles out. Put circles in, you're going to get circles out. Okay, if you put the negativity in, you're going to get negativity out. So if you want positive outcomes, you have to put positivity in. And I've seen this in my life, like I was explaining, that some used to be like happy and believing and stuff. And so I got these good results and I saw the good of the world. But there was a period of time where I was like so stuck on stupid things and people who were so rude and horrible and like causing problems and worrying about that. And instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to take different actions and make a new result, I was like, blah, 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 blah. And I got more of this. And it took me a long time to get kind of snapped out of it. And I got snapped out of it and I started following this path, and so much good has happened. So be mindful. Remember, thoughts become things. What are you thinking? Make sure what you put in here is what you want to come out on this side. All right, I want to show you this. It's one of my favorite poems ever, and it's in this book. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you cannot, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with a person's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the one who wins is the one who thinks he can. So it's not necessarily who is the best, who is the smartest, who's the prettiest, who's the wealthiest. Okay? It's none of these things. Some of this might happen, but that's not why. It goes to the person who thinks they can. They believe. Our high school motto, we were the Falcons, we believe. Okay, one of our other mottos, invent the future, Virginia Tech, and ut prosim, which is that I may serve. I feel like my life is a mix of these things. Okay? Think you can, you will. Don't have to be any of these things. Just think you can. That's it. So simple. All right, so this stuff's really important. It goes on for like almost 100 pages talking about these simple things like the desire, the burning desire, the faith, belief, persistence, okay, knowing what you want, having confidence, taking action, okay, right? We have these wants and we keep going. We don't stop. We persist. We have this imagination. We dream. We think big, just like so many people have before us. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? Think of the impact that he made. Abraham Lincoln. Think of the impact that he made. Think of anyone who has achieved something, even Walt Disney. Or Sarah Blakely, I talk about with Spanx, Sarah Blakely. Any of these people started with their dreams and they believed. And so if you want more information, there's tons in there, but let's go ahead and move on and talk about something new. If you actually want to get rich, one of the most important things you need to know is specialized knowledge. You need specialized knowledge. Why does a cardiologist make $250,000 to $500,000 versus a barista at Starbucks making, I don't know, $20, $25 an hour, maybe at best? Why? What's the discrepancy? A cardiologist is probably going to perform surgery, has to know everything about the heart. So many different problems, so many different things that I can't even write on this paper, but you have to know so many different things and help so many different types of patients and be able to have this really specific and specialized knowledge. It's not general. It's very specific. And so you get paid for that. Yes, you could argue, well, a barista has to have very specialized knowledge about coffee or making those heart lattes. Ooh la la. Okay, that is specialized, but is this a life or death situation, the coffee, or is that just gonna hopefully it does make people's days, but it's not like this big extreme thing. And it's how long does it take to learn how to be good and excellent at making a nice coffee? Hopefully not that long. Like you could probably learn in a few days or maybe a week. And I'm not discrediting anyone. I definitely know there's a lot of people who are baristas that are probably amazing and probably should be making this amount of money just because they're a high value person, but they're in the wrong field because that's not going to pay them the right amount of money. And so here with a cardiologist, it's going to take so much time. You have to go through so much school, 8 to 12 years or more of school before you can even see this type of money. And you have to do a ton of training and have a ton of expertise. And so this specialized knowledge, even if you aren't in a traditional W-2 job and you have a business, right, you're probably going to get paid more. Even consultants get paid a ton because they have a lot of knowledge on a specific topic, which then helps the company that is paying them to be a consultant for, right? So what you need to think about is how can I get specialized knowledge? Whether you go to college, whether you don't go to college, whether you do both, you use it, whatever it is, what can I specifically offer someone? Even Dan Martell talked about a plumber His plumber like charged him, I don't know, $5,000 for something. It was crazy. It's not just because he was rich. It's because the type of problem he had was so severe and no one in the area, no one knew how to fix it. And he's like, why am I paying you this much money? He's like, I'm the only one who knows how to fix this. He has this specialized knowledge, so he can charge that much money. Think about it. Now, how do we get this specialized knowledge? There's a few ways, okay? It's someone's experience and education. It can be your own. Okay, maybe you went through something, or maybe you know how to get rid of acne. You went through this situation and now you can educate someone, or someone educated you already and now you can educate others on that. Number two, the experience and education from others. So you got taught this from someone else, you got information from somebody else, and now you have it. It could also be from college or from university. And so obviously, like, to be an engineer, to do those things, you could read textbooks, but typically you do have to go get the degree. I don't think college and university is useless. It just depends on your goals. Sometimes it is helpful. And if you have the money or the time, go ahead. Public libraries, these are so important. Even Naval Ravikant talks about he grew up with a single mom and it wasn't very safe. And so she had him go to the public library, and he said he read like all these books, and he's a super, super smart dude. And so there's so much power in books, even just reading one book. Like, I'm giving you so much information already, and we're not even close to being done with the book, right? So knowledge is so powerful. And at the library, you can borrow it, get it for free. And then special training courses. Okay. Even for YouTube, I bought a course from Ali Abdaal, $1,000, but he has over 6 million subscribers, and it is an amazing, very thorough course, has a huge team, makes millions of dollars. And so I paid for the course so that I could learn. And it's giving me specialized training from someone who has done what I want to do, right? And so you can charge that and get paid that. Please remember, Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors, the most successful, his right-hand man, Charlie Munger, says successful people never stop learning, and then they'll never stop rising. But here, you have to continually acquire knowledge. Okay? If you want to rise in your life, if you want to get better, what do you have to do? Go to the books, go to learn, go to people to teach you. Even if you're 18 and graduated, even if you're 22 and graduated, even if you're 30, 40, 50, if you keep learning, you will rise. And in the book, it really wants you to know that knowledge isn't power. Okay? And I actually have said this myself, even before I'd written Think and Grow Rich. Or sorry, read it, not written it. Knowledge isn't power. It's knowledge that's applied. You have to apply the knowledge. You can learn it. That is so powerful. And just knowing it. But if you know how to get fit or get six-pack abs or to become a millionaire or to fix your heart and heal yourself or to have a good relationship and you don't do it, what is the use of that? Like, it's up here. Cool, yay. But like, let's get these results. Let's get this happy relationship. Let's love ourselves. Let's be at peace with ourselves. Let's get smart and know, and then we can go teach other people. And so they're all smart and happy too. Let's go share the sunshine. Go share the health. Like, come on. You got to apply it. Apply it. One key thing to remember is once you get the knowledge, okay, once we get our knowledge, we acquire it. Great. We know what we want to learn. We know what we want to specialize in, okay? And you might kind of learn a few things along the way that you're really, really good at, but usually it's one main thing, okay? What is that for you? And then once we know what we want to specialize in, we need a clear plan. An organized plan is what they call it in the book. Okay? And so this can consist of the actions. Okay? Like, even if we want to get healthy and fit, okay, what actions are required to get this outcome? What actions are required? Okay, well, I need to learn about how to get healthy and fit. I need to learn these things. I need to learn maybe how to lift weights, because that's going to tone your body and your physique. It's going to be great for your overall health, for your mental health, for everything, your body, your bones, your muscles. We need to learn how to eat properly, okay? And not just to lose weight, but for health in general, whatever. Maybe you have an issue that's causing you problems. You need to resolve that issue, and so that you can kind of focus on these other things, or you have a time problem or something. I'm not sure, but we need to figure out what knowledge we need to acquire, and then the actions that would have to ensue after that. So, okay, how am I going to learn about this? Who is my coach? Who is my mentor? Who am I going to pay? Who am I going to learn from for free? What am I going to do here? And then, okay, what food do I need to buy? All right, what are my meals? All right, which ones do I like? Which ones do I not like? All right, what store am I going to go to? When am I going to shop? Am I going to meal prep? What are my snacks going to be? Let's go bulk buy some apples and peanut butter or whatever you're doing. Okay. And then when am I going to make it? Let's buy a reusable water bottle. Okay, so I have these systems and I have these things. All right, so the water bottle takes care of something. It's very simple. I have it. It's already there. And so I'm taking these actions. All right, I need a gym membership. I want to go to an actual gym. All right, I can't pay $150 a month, but Planet Fitness is open. Let's go ahead and get that $9.99 a month. Great. I'm going to do that. Join. I'm going to show up. When am I going? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Cool. All right. What body parts am I working? Okay. Is there a trainer that I could hire? Is there a plan I can pay for online? Is there something free? Okay. Let me go look up what are the body parts I need to work out. Body parts I need to work out. Okay. I'm going to work out this muscle group. I have my triceps, my biceps, my back, my chest. All right, that's the upper body, but what's the lower body? We have our glutes, hamstrings. Might want to do calves, quadriceps. Okay, we got to do those. Maybe I don't want to buy something. Maybe I can just look up on Instagram and just type in the search bar. Okay, like glute exercises. Then I'm going to add those in. Do that on a leg day. What day is leg day? Let's do Monday. What am I going to do Wednesday? What am I going to do Friday? Okay. And stuff like this. I can just go on and on. This is just how my brain works. But you got to make a plan. You got to make a plan. When am I going to sleep? When am I going to do this? Okay. Do I need to go to pelvic floor physical therapy? All right. Do I need to go see a doctor for a thyroid issue? Do I need to go get my blood work done? Hey, do I have like something that's bothering me? A little ache in my shoulder? Go get help and do the actions, okay? And so we need to acquire the knowledge to know what to do, and then what are the actions, and then put the plan into practice and schedule it in. So I go a lot more into this in my own book, and maybe I'll put this out like for free as just like a section on like how I go through my goals and what you need to do and stuff, but it's so important. Remember, it's not just the knowledge. Hey, that's important. I can know all these things to do, but unless you do them and implement them, it's not helpful. And so if we want to achieve an outcome, we have to be willing to be creative and use our own brains here. And one of the reasons I put the sun here is because we have literally analyzed and weighed the sun. Like what? How have we done that? Okay? And it started through someone's imagination and their desire, their action, their belief. So there are two forms of imagination. Okay? imagination, we have synthetic, and we also have creative. Synthetic is working with what already exists. All right, so I was talking about that even earlier. There's already something, and we use it to be more creative and kind of get a similar result. The creative imagination is when hunches and inspiration is used. It's when you are tapping into the thoughts of others, the needs of others, the desires of others. You're able to step into the heart, in the heart space. It's when you have this vibration that's vibrating super high, and you're just able to really, really, really have this intense creative imagination. The best way to encourage more of this creative inspiration and imagination is by acting. Just like anything, like if you want to achieve a goal, it starts with action. Like how many people say, start before you're ready? You know, you got to keep going. You got to start. You got to do it. Start before you're ready. Take the action. The action is what leads you to the results. It's not the overthinking. Wah! It's not the confusion, the fear, the doubt. Like that's not doing anything. You're not getting anything. So you have to start by acting and really do things to help encourage your creativity, to help encourage you to tap into the heart, to tap into the mind, to tap into the spirit, to tap into the needs, the desires, and the hopes for the world and the changes that you can help make. The entire universe and planetary system I know I'm not putting the planets in the right spot and such, but all of these little things, this whole vast universe out here, okay? It's all matter plus energy. That's it. Equals the universe. Matter plus energy. And I just looked up the definitions because why not? That's who I am. Matter is any physical substance that has mass and that takes up space. It's the stuff the universe is made of, found in forms like solids, liquids, and gases. Okay? And what is energy? Let's see. The ability to work or cause change. So we need the energy to do things, to change the physical in the world. Okay, I feel like the imagination isn't 100% clear, but I have some really cool stories that I really think will help you to fully understand how can we fully harness our imaginations and help those we love to harness that as well, because it's super, super powerful to get rich. Huzzah! Okay, so the main story I want to talk about is actually with Southwest Airlines. So all of these principles and things come from like really successful people, and it talks about how it happened. So this gentleman, Herb Kelleher, was one of the founders of Southwest, okay? And he was a lawyer in San Antonio, Texas. My brother used to live there for a little bit, been there, very cool. But there was this guy also named Roland King, and he was the creator of the idea. And how Southwest actually started was they wanted an airline to go to 3 main cities, and that was kind of like their initial idea. And then like they had a hard time, because they had a hard time like getting seats on these flights. And so they just wanted to have planes that focused on these main big cities. So they recognized this need. They had a desire, a want, a problem, and a solution. And they had $100,000 and they started the company. Unfortunately, Southwest faced a lot of issues. They lost like over $3 million one year. They had lawsuits against them and things of that nature. But Herb Kelleher gave some suggestions on how they ended up becoming a very successful company. They wanted to be the best of the best. They wanted to be the go-to. And obviously, like, there's still other airlines today, but there's a lot of people who want to fly Southwest. So here is some of his advice. Please remember, it started with imagination, our creativity, our brain, our thoughts. Like, that's where everything comes from. Even my YouTube, like all this stuff, it just comes from up here in our heads. Okay? Kelleher says, stick with it. Okay? And specifically, stick with your ideas. So if you have an idea, like, don't abandon it. If you feel it's right, stick with it. Even if there's obstacles and challenges that come at you and that make it hard and difficult, stick with it, just like David and Goliath, and go back. And fight back and conquer and overcome. And rise up. Okay? You got to stick with it, because these big competitors were trying to knock him out and be like, bye, like, we don't like you. But also, he claims having a positive attitude was super essential to keep them going through those 3 years of those court battles and fights. It's like, no, I have a positive attitude. I'm going to think well, and I'm going to get well. The other thing, they talk about, what do the customers want? Okay, Sarah Blakely talks about this with Spanx. She was a customer, and she thought about, like, the woman, and that there were these guys in the industry, and there were no females trying on the clothes that the females were wearing. And so we think about, what do customers want? They were a customer. They're like, I want good flights, and I don't want them to be oversold. And I want to have options in different times in these main cities that I travel to. He was a lawyer, and so he needed to travel a lot. And so what do people want? I know even for me, like YouTube, like, I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to enjoy my life, right? You know, I want to have money so that I can do those things, and I have the freedom, the tools. I want to find a job or a passion or a service that can help people. I want to serve people. I want to feel good. I want to love myself. I want to love my family. I want to have those things, family, friends, the world, you know, like, these are things that I want. I want to have a good mindset. I want to be in control of myself. I want to have a fit, strong, healthy, capable body. I want to be loving. I want to be those things in the world. I want to provide value. I want to serve and help other people do the same. And so, like, that's what I want. And so that's why I'm creating. And hopefully that's going to help other people too. What do the customers want? It's simple, but sometimes hard to do. 3, overcome obstacles. Remember, obstacles are going to be on the path to success. Obstacles, problems, things come up. How do we handle them? Do we quit when we see them? Do we quit when it happens? Okay? You have to take positive steps to break it down. You have to. Okay? Even when the battle is being fought, find ways to get around it and to still get here. And then lastly, stay open to opportunity. There might be new things. There might be new options. Maybe you thought it was going to be this triangle option, or the circle option ended up being the square, or the star option. Be open, and open-mindedness is a key thing in Think and Grow Rich too, to be able to step into the next level. Following this page, and I really want to share this. Remember, a quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. So even when you're feeling this temporary defeat, like we talked about earlier, it keeps coming back up. You have to continue on. Winners never quit. Winners experience hardship, they experience obstacles, but they don't stop. All great fortunes came from either compensation for various services or selling an idea or ideas. That's it. Being compensated for something you offer. What is your offer? What is the value? What are you giving? What are you doing? What is it helping? What is the idea that you have or ideas? And also, these people are leaders. So are you going to be a leader or are you going to be a follower? What are you going to create? Leaders create better outcomes. Let's be leaders. And even if you're not quite a leader yet, remember, how do leaders get there? How do they become leaders? They start as a follower, and they start as an intelligent follower, okay? Everything I've learned, things that I've learned, comes from me deciding to read, to learn, to listen, to be mentored, to grow from lots of people. Because books were written by people. There's lots of people out there helping, YouTube, social media, in general life, all of it. Start as a follower, be intelligent, and then figure out what knowledge you have, or skills, or expertise, or if there's something that pains you, or something you want to help with, and go tackle that. Go lead that. Go lead in that area and go crush it and see who will be lifted up. Rising tide lifts all boats. Who will be helped because of it, who will be richer, who will be happier, who will be healthier, who will be more at peace, like whatever you're working on. It's worth it to lead. But who are you going to follow to get there? Okay, I'm sold, Elizabeth. I want to be a leader. That's me. I see myself being a leader and leading others. So how can I become a leader? All leaders have unwavering courage. Okay, courage is not the absence of fear. You could be scared, but you do the right thing anyways. You do what is required anyways. No follower wants to be dominated by a leader who doesn't have confidence. So we want someone who's courageous, who is confident, who believes, who makes choices, right? Instead of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And it's like, if I'm a teacher and then I'm like with my class and I don't know what to do, or I don't stand up for the kids who are acting appropriately and things like that, like that stinks. I don't want to be in a class where like these guys just rule my class and then the leader's not standing up and protecting us and stuff. Like that stinks. You have to be courageous. You have to make decisions that might be hard or that might be uncomfortable, that might be scary or that might be new. But that is what's going to help you grow and get money and get results that you want. You have to be courageous. You also have to have self-control. It's a fruit of the spirit in biblical terms, but people who can't control themselves never can control others. I actually wrote something about this the other day. It was just like, if you want to lead others, lead yourself. Like even parents who are like, their kids are having a tantrum and a hard time. And it's like, when, like, gosh, I can't believe this. And stop doing this. And rah, 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 rah. I can't believe it. You're such a horrible child, blah, 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 blah. It's like, and then the parent is the one like lashing out and screaming and yelling and blah. It's like, where the heck do they get this from? No wonder they don't know how to control themselves. You don't know how, right? Control yourself. If other things, like if you're here and this person can get to you and this thing can happen and this thing will bring you down, you're never in control. You have to be the one to be like, all this outside noise doesn't matter. I'm in control of me and my heart and my mind. 3, a keen sense of justice. what is fair, what is right. Even as a teacher, I see this, like I see us as a leader, we're leading a classroom. And so it's like, you have to get respect of the followers. You have to get respect of the people. So if you don't believe in justice or what is correct or what is right, like if these kids are doing an amazing job and then these kids aren't, and then you're still rewarding these kids and you never do anything for these awesome kids, like that stinks. Or like they tagged a person out and you're like, no. And then you're like, I'm the boss, do what I say. That doesn't give you any respect. Number 4, definiteness of decision. Number 4, definiteness of decision. So people who waver in decisions show they're not sure of themselves. They can't lead others successfully. So for me, I do like sometimes like surveying. Hey, this is choice A, choice B. But if I just sit there and try to please everybody or like, ooh, I don't know, like, well, maybe let's do C and like D and like E and like, okay, everyone chose B, but I don't know, like, let's maybe do C. Like, that stinks. If you're going to give an option, A or B, what they choose, okay, most people said A. Yep, some people from B are sad. Oh, well, make a decision. You have to make a decision. You have to think about the best interest of everybody. But at the end of the day, you do have to decide. Definiteness of plans. So what are your plans? Are they specific? A successful leader must plan the work and work the plan. You have to actually have actions and things that you do and that you put into place. Remember this. You have to have it. It's like a ship without a rudder. If you don't have that, it's going to go off course. It's not going to get there. You have to have the actions and the schedule and plan. 6, you have to do more than paid for. Jesse Itzler talks about this, and he talks about like with his private jet company, and he was new and young. And when he got his first client, he went above and beyond for this client. And it was not just the private jet experience and all the nice refreshments and things on the plane. He did all these things for the kids and found pediatricians and like found good vacation spots and like the best restaurants and extra things and did all this extra stuff. And that's what was great. Be a leader, do more than what's expected. Like, yeah, show up and show up well, but let's like show up even better. And you're going to be respected a lot for that. And you're going to find more followers because you're worth following. 7, a pleasing personality. Be pleasing. Who wants to be around people or leaders who are like, rah, and grr, and like, maybe they're good at like having, good decisions, or maybe they have plans, but then if they're not pleasing to be around, like that is not fun. And like people don't usually respect people. Like maybe there's a teacher who can manage a classroom well and everyone's listening and quiet and behaved, but that doesn't mean that the kids respect them because they're not being pleasing. They're scared of them. It's like fear-based. So you want to have a pleasing personality and communicate with people. Number 8, sympathy and understanding. Okay, this is key too. Like a lot of this is so just like in teaching. Okay, are our kids expected to exercise? Like if I'm teaching PE, yes, they're supposed to exercise. But leaders have empathy or sympathy. So like if this child is always working hard, they're always prepared, they're always happy and ready to go, and they're in a great mood and they're crushing it, and they got a 7-minute mile and they put in effort and they're doing amazing. And then one day they show up and they are like feeling awful. And they're like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel awful. Can I like just rest for a minute? I'm like, sure, go rest. Now, if they show up every day and they're like, oh, I'm miserable, or oh, my dog ate my homework, or oh, I have this tumor, I have this problem, and this blah, 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 and it's like over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, it's harder to have sympathy and understanding. But sympathy and understanding for the people who are normally doing what they're supposed to. And then you're like, okay, I hear you, I see you. You're a human being. And even the person who always has problems, like maybe they need to go get counseling, maybe they need to go get more help because they need more support at this time. Have that sympathy and understanding. Meet people where they are. I think that's key. Meet people where they are, and you can serve them better. Number 9 is mastery of detail. Success is in the details, right? And so you have to know all the little things. Like, it's not just the big blocks of life. It is these little tiny things. It's like even smiling at someone. It's remembering their names as a teacher. It's these little moments like checking in on them, right? Like rewarding the kids who are doing well, maybe bringing like a prize for kids, doing something fun one day that's like out of the norm. It's these little things too, checking on someone, high fives, whatever, that that just makes the experience way better. And it's going above and beyond. Willingness to assume full responsibility. Okay, if someone's acting out or something's going wrong in class, it's like, it's my fault. It's always my fault. Sure, okay, should someone have not pulled Johnny's pants down or something? No. Okay, but it's my fault. What could I have done different? Could I have had a more engaging activity? Okay, could I have been more structured? Could we have done a lesson or like have really, really key rules where they know like this is not okay or here's the consequences, be really mindful. Did we teach strategies? Like what did we do? What can I do, right? Accept full responsibility for the things that go wrong. You see that in like the Kansas City Chiefs or with coaches. Andy Reid of the Kansas City Chiefs, talks about it's like, well, we made this mistake, we had this penalty, we had this wrong, but at the end of the day, it's on me and we're going to get it fixed. And then lastly, cooperation. Successful leaders must understand that they have to put in effort cooperatively, because if you just say, I'm the leader, I'm the boss, do what I say, people aren't usually going to want to work with you. But if you work with others, like, hey, what are you guys liking to do? What are you interested in? Okay, like, hey, okay, you are having a hard time today. I get it. You're normally doing good. Like, let's work together to create good outcomes. All right, if you're trying to succeed and you're trying to get some money, there's a few things that you can do. So one thing is the QQS. Okay, we want this QQS. It is quality. We have quantity. And we have spirit. Okay, so what does this mean, this QQS? We want your work, whatever you're offering, that specialized knowledge, that specialized skill, we want it to be of excellent quality. We want it to be good, okay? And we want it to be, honestly, exceptional. Okay, a lot of my mentors talk about becoming world class, becoming the best. Okay, we want to be the best of the best of what we're doing. And then the quantity is not necessarily how much are you producing, it's how often do we have this quality, okay? Because if you show up with good work one time, awesome, but then you have really bad work the rest of the time, is that helping the company thrive? No, and in Think and Grow Rich, it does talk about like a CV and a resume and how to get a job. I figured I didn't need to go into too much detail about that. I'd rather give some of these other tools and tactics, but they talk about this because who wants to be hired and who wants to hire someone who's only going to give good work sometimes? Like even at school, if I show up nice to my students one day, oh my gosh, she's so nice. And then the rest of the days I'm like, rah, grr, blah. Is that fun to be around? Is that helpful? Is that helping the school? Is that helping the reputation? Is that helping the students, which is our whole goal? Probably not. No. And so we want quality, but we want the quantity quality. Okay. And then spirit. And so this is your attitude and your demeanor. Okay. How are you showing up? Like I said, are you positive? Do you have a good mindset? Do you have a good attitude? It makes all the difference. And people, they want results. Employers want results. Like even, I'm sure if you're following me on YouTube, you want a result. You don't want me to just talk and go la, 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 blah, 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 blah all day. You want me to talk, maybe blah, blah, blah. And it's teaching you something, and then you get a result in your life. So you're like, okay, I'll listen to this talking. But if you're just talking with no real results or real purpose, it's not going to be helpful. And if I'm talking and I don't actually have quality to share, it's not going to help. And if I'm not constantly doing quality, one video is good, and then the next time it's like, what is this video? It's not as consistent. But if every single time someone posts, it's going to be good quality, yay, 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 you're more likely to tune in. You're more likely to, be a part of that. And if someone's like, hello, finances are cool, blah, 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 that's a different spirit than, hey, you guys can become millionaires. Let's do this. We can achieve our goals. Do you hear that energy and that enthusiasm in my voice? That's a different energy, and that's how you want to show up and be thinking. The QQS. What quality do you have? What quantity quality? And what spirit are you showing up as? And you're going to have better friends. You're going to have better relationships. You're going to have more customers. It's going to help you a lot. Napoleon Hill talks about brains. Do you have sufficient brain power? Okay, we talk about this with creativity. We talk about this with being open, having openness, okay, and ideas, being a problem solver and solution provider, okay? But if the biggest form of capital and returns is going to be brains. It's going to be your thinking. Obviously, someone could get Alzheimer's, someone could have a brain disease or something, dementia, where then the value of your brain, like you're not thinking clearly anymore. But think of even Warren Buffett, how much knowledge he has accumulated, and that he still has the brains. He still is thinking clearly and making good decisions. And so that is essential. We want to work on our brain so that we have more to offer. And then I would go another step further and talk about the heart. That's why I talk about this a lot on my channel, but healing in here, because if you're just super smart and remember we talked about just a second ago, having the spirit and having that attitude. If you're just like all smart, but you don't have this peace or this energy about you or this way about you, it's going to be tricky to make money and to be of the total value you could be. You still have value, but you're not at that total value that you really, really could be. Okay, Napoleon Hill also talks about the 30 main causes of failure. Okay? There's 30 main causes of failure. And what I'm actually going to do is talk about what you should have instead of what you shouldn't have. Okay? And so number one, you want a good hereditary background. Okay? So you can't necessarily control this. It's an unfair advantage. That's a great book if you're interested, but a good background. If you come from really smart parents or really wealthy parents, really peaceful parents, smart, healthy, wealthy, whatever, your outcomes are probably going to be better. Why? You might live in a nicer neighborhood, nicer house. You might have a better school system. You might have access to more education. They might value education. I know even for our family, we buy all these materials and resources for learning. They know how to make good relationships. They know how to make money. They know maybe how to have a strong mindset. And so just because you don't have a good hereditary background, that doesn't mean you can't be successful and rich. But a lot of people fail because they stay stuck in this cycle. So if we were born poor, don't have a lot of money, horrible mindset, not good mindset, grumpy, upset all the time, think that rich people are bad, all of that stuff, that can go to the kids, because then the kids don't have that. They stay around in the schools and the neighborhoods of other people who think like this, and that infects their brain, and it makes it really challenging and really difficult. Okay. But we can break that. This person can start learning, especially with YouTube and online mentorship, you can find another way. So just know people too who think like this might try to pull you back. But just because you started there doesn't mean you have to end there. If you start in a poor place, you can end very far away from it, but you have to be very, very intentional, and you have to do the work. Number 2, a lack of a well-defined purpose. So you need a very strong purpose. Strong. There's our weights. Okay? It has to be super strong. If you don't have a purpose, a why, a mission, a reason, a goal, okay, something that pains you, something you want to solve, something you want to live for, something that you really care about, something that you love, something that you don't love, that you want to fix, okay? This is where the purpose lies. Even on YouTube, like, I really want to help people and reduce people's suffering. And I want more people to live lives that they love and that make them happy. And so that's a very strong purpose for me to create and to continue and to build and to churn out videos week after week and to improve myself as a person and to take care of myself and drink water and eat healthy and go to the gym and do all these things, because I have a strong purpose. If you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a goal, you are just here and you're going on about life. And stuff happens. You might meet someone, get married. You might have a family. You might do a job, make some impact, but you're just going along. You have to have a strong purpose and a definite goal. 98 out of every 100 people that Napoleon Hill analyzed, he went and surveyed and analyzed all these people, they did not have a definite purpose or goal, and that's why they failed, okay? Or they didn't reach the outcome that they wanted. And so have a strong why, have a strong reason, have a purpose and a genuine goal and direction for your life. Number 3, lack of ambition. So we want ambition. Forgot I was doing the reverse. So ambition, you got to have ambition. You're not going to achieve anything if you're not ambitious. What if we had Michael Jordan or we had Kobe Bryant? Okay, amazing basketball players. What if they didn't want to be the best? What if they didn't want to be good? Would they be good? Would they have reached the top? Would they have? Probably not. So yeah, if you settle for mediocre, you're going to get that. And I know for some people that's what they want to do, and that's okay. But if you want to achieve a big outcome, you're going to have big ambition to match. Number 4, you need sufficient education. Okay? Remember, we talk about knowledge is power. But what I've learned in life, and this book states it, is knowledge applied is the real power. Okay? And so we have to apply that knowledge. We have to act. We could know how to get fit and healthy. That's important because some people don't know. Some people don't have the knowledge. But if we know that, we need to do the actions and the habits so that we can be happy, healthy, and fit. Yay, strong muscles. Woohoo! Healthy heart. Okay? So education, and a lot of times it's not anyone's fault, but there's so much education out there now that go learn for yourself. Figure out what outcome you want. Is it being healthy? Is it being fit? Is it being rich? Is it being healed? Is it, whatever it is, building the software company? Who knows? Figure out the outcome and then work your way backwards and go, what are the habits and actions I would need to do? And what do I need to know to get there? Number 5, you need discipline and self-control. Okay? Nothing good happens if you don't have discipline. If you know you need to exercise a certain amount of times a week, you need to eat a certain amount of healthy meals a week, and you need to be consistent because consistency breeds success. If you don't do that and you just work out once this week and then maybe you eat one healthy meal, look at how little it's compounding. You're not going to get the results if you eat one salad. Okay. And so discipline and the self-control, and discipline is a form of self-love. Venus Williams said that I love myself enough to be disciplined, to show up, to do the work, even if it's hard. And it takes time, it takes effort. I can teach you more about how to do this, but no successful person isn't disciplined and doesn't have self-control. Because we all have feelings, we all have thoughts, we all could have cravings or whatever. But can you show up anyways when it's hard? Can you control yourself even when faced with things that would be hard to control yourself with? Number 6, you need to have good health. Okay? If you're not healthy, and if you're a sick person, what is their one wish? Do we have other goals? Do we have goals to be married and in love? Do we have goals to serve? Do we have goals to solve problems? Do we have goals to have a family? Do we have goals to travel? No. What's our one wish? To be healthy and to feel good and to not be sick. That'd be the one wish. And so good health is essential. And it talks about not only being physically well, okay? Strong body, strong self. Making sure we're eating foods and not overeating them, using food to help give us energy and fuel, and respecting our bodies, having good thoughts. You can be a really unhealthy person, and this is like the mental health and spiritual side. And I've faced this a little bit in my life at certain points. The thoughts were very negative and unhelpful, and it kind of just kept me stuck in the muck here. Instead, if I would have thought different things and fueled my mind with different things, I would have been way happier and had different results. So your thoughts can really impact your health. It does talk about exercise. Okay. Obviously, if you're an adult here, sex it talks about too. Think Your Courage does talk about this. I know it can be taboo, but it is a part of life as you get older. And so making sure you're using this correctly, not getting into addictions and things like that. And you can actually channel this energy into being more productive, to being more confident, to getting more done. And so really learning how to manage this will be really, really helpful to you. And I think not enough people do talk about that because it's a normal part of life, but we have to use it well and to help us. Exercise was really important. Like I said, it's great for all of the parts of health, your mind, your emotions, your body, right? You are the greatest asset. Talk about that a lot. You're the number one asset. And so if you're not healthy, if you're not happy, if you're not good, why are you going to get good out? You're not. Okay. And then lastly, fresh air. Get fresh air, breathe well. All of these core things will help you. Health is wealth. Take care of your health. Number 7, this is the hereditary background again, but it's not just your genetics. Okay? It is your environment. We've talked about this a few times in this video today, but your environment, okay? What is surrounding you? What is surrounding you? Okay? Who are the people that are around you? What are the places? What are the poor habits? The thinking? The safety? Or the lack thereof? What is surrounding you? And so obviously, like if you're being surrounded by books and love and peace and athletics and positivity and opportunity and money, like that's going to change you and your outcomes, right? And so it's really, really important to be mindful of this, that your environment shapes you. And so even as a child or as you get older, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is your sphere of influence? Who are the people that you allow close to you? Naval Ravikant says that the closer you want to get to him, the better you have to be. And so be really, really careful. Poverty and these bad habits, it's not just because that's who you are. If you were around really bad people or in a bad environment or a poor area or whatever, and bad parents or whatever, and people struggling, that's not you. That's not what's within you. That's what's around you, and it's infecting you. Okay? And so you have to escape and get out of there so you can go be filled with all of these better things, right? It's like it says, as the twig is bent, the tree shall grow that way. And being around this poor environment is bending you in a negative way. And so you have to figure out how to escape this, know that it's not destined for you. And a lot of people have started in a really bad place, in a poor place, and they've figured out how to rise up and get better. You can too. You want to be diligent in your work. The opposite of this is waiting or procrastinating. Okay? We don't want to do that. We don't want to procrastinate. Okay? Stop waiting until the last minute. The more you procrastinate, the more you are pushing time away. We only have 24 hours. And if we keep delaying to Monday, to Tuesday, to Wednesday, to Thursday, to the next week, to the next month, the next year, time is just going to continue to pass. It's going on and on and on. Okay? So don't delay. People who procrastinate aren't as on top of it. If you are on top of it, you're more likely to hit your goals and therefore get wealthier, happier, and achieve. So stop delaying. What is something you're delaying right now, and what do you need to change today? Number 9. Talked about this a lot in the book. Persistence. You have to have persistence. You have to. You have to keep going. Okay? It talks about that a lot of people are good at starting. I'm really motivated. I'm going to do this. Like, I believe in myself. Woohoo, let's go. And so we start. But then as we go along and we're like, oh my gosh, I was just prepared to go here. And now it got hard. And like, wait, I have to keep going. And wait, oh my gosh, this is still hard. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. Oh my gosh, when is this going to end? When am I going to reach the spot? Okay, I'm just going to quit. But remember, like we talked about earlier, this could be the gold. You were 3 feet away from gold and achieving your goals. And so it talks about how a lot of people are poor finishers. Okay? Like even me, I'm still working on it. And part of it is the perfection in it and trying to make it good. And also there's some legal things, making sure those are good. But I have a book. I actually wrote an ebook too. And like The book has over 400 pages right now. The ebook's like 200 pages, and I've been working on it, but I haven't finished it. Okay. And so, or even YouTube, been going for about 2 years. And so I have to persist and keep going. Okay. Whoa. I thought maybe I would reach more people by then or be better by now. And I'm not. Am I just going to quit? No, I got to persist. I got to keep going, got to keep getting better, got to keep working on these things and finishing them so that I have them to offer to the world and so that I can help people. Okay. There's no substitute for persistence. You simply have to keep going. Keep going. This might be a hard one for some people, and probably people who are watching this video don't have this, but you have to have a positive personality. So the opposite, you would fail if you don't, if you are negative. We want positive, okay? Why? Do people want to work with someone who is negative and draining? Or would someone rather work with someone who is smart, uplifting, and positive? Both of them could still get the work done. Who would you rather work with? Probably this person. At least that's who I would want to work with, right? And so it's part of power. If you need to achieve something, you need to have some power. You need to have some influence. You need to be able to make connections. And it's really, really hard to do that when you have a negative personality. I even see that like most students can get along, but in the classroom, I've had every once in a while, there's like one student that just really struggles, but they're more negative or they're more harsh. And so the other kids like want to run away. They're repelling the other kids because of their personality. And so if you want to be successful, you want to be drawing people towards you, not away from you. And so this is really, really important. Do you want to help Mr. Happy Face, or do you want to help Mr. Sad Face? Probably Mr. Happy. Number 11, control your sexual desires. Okay. It's part of life. It's here. I'm a health and PE teacher. It's a natural part of life. If you're an adult, control it. Okay. You can channel it into a more positive energy. It's actually a really, really powerful tool if you use it correctly into propelling you into action. So instead of maybe going off and doing things that are not helping you, if you're married, go for it, have fun, but you can use that energy to create, to take action, to build, to empower, to influence, okay? When you're using that energy within you. Have you ever listened to a song that has kind of that energy and it's just kind of empowering and confident? You can use it to help you instead of hurting you. Like if we're just focusing on a screen or focusing on these things, that is taking away from what we could get out here if we actually channeled the energy here and started producing better things out into the world. Be mindful. Don't gamble, okay? It might seem nice to try to win the lottery or to make millions and millions of dollars, okay? Yeah, you can do this, but the best way to do this is to actually start a company, build a business, invest in a business, to be an owner, okay? This typically isn't going to help, and your bank account is going to drop instead of rise up. Be mindful. There's a better use of your time and your money. 13, we want to be decisive. Okay? Once we make a decision, we want it to stick. Okay? Remember, I've talked about this as a teacher. It's like, okay, we're doing this today. And then it's like, no, well, I wanted to do this and I want to do this. Okay, maybe we're doing this. Okay, actually, no, you guys want to do this more? Oh, wait, and Johnny wants this? Okay, and Alex wants this? Okay, oh my gosh, all right, now let's, what do we, like, no, okay? If you're going to give choices, hey, we have choice A or B. That's my decision. We're going to be A or B today. All right, let's look. Looks like most people want to do that. We have time. It's set up. A, go, stick with it, okay? YouTube, hey, I want to create a YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm going to stick with it. Oh man, it's not working after 3 months. Okay, I'm going to stop. Give it time. Okay? You want to make the decision, but give it time. Don't just make a decision and then keep flip-flopping and go from this side back to this side and this side back to this side and this side. Give it time. Make a choice. Think about it. Take time to make the decision. Okay? Like, I didn't just randomly decide to start a YouTube channel and then do it. Like, I thought about it for a bit. But then once you decide, stick with your decision for a little while and see what happens. 14, you need to avoid fear, or at least letting fear rule you and be your king or your master. Okay? And there's 6 fears that it's talked about in the book that are the main culprits. So being scared of poverty, being scared of criticism, what people think of you, what people say, that's a huge one. Other people's opinions. Ill health, worrying about what will happen there. You know, and it's not like none of these are reasonable. This is reasonable. Who wants some of these things? Loss of love or someone you love. Old age. And lastly, fear of death. Okay? No one wants to die typically, okay? Unless you're having a really hard time in life. And that's just, you need some help. You will move through that. But that's part of life. It's the circle of life. Like in The Lion King, right? Simba's being held up. Oh, on the rock. La, by the guy. Okay? It's a circle of life. It happens. We're born, we live a nice life, and then we die. Okay? That's okay. All of these things will hold you back if you let it control you. If you're worried about this one specifically, that is the biggest one I see on what people get so worried about, especially with trying to achieve a goal or do something big, or if they have a nice dream. This is what they worry about. They worry about the peanut gallery. They worry about Charlie. They worry about Alyssa. They worry about what these people are going to say. But are these people living your life? Are they? No. So if they're not going to live your life, you should not listen to them. Don't listen to them. Okay? But it's uncomfortable. It's scary. It's all these weird feelings. And that's why on the channel, I talk about mastering those feelings that come up, working on your mindset and how you think of things, because that's going to limit you if you don't conquer it. Number 15, making sure you pick a good partner to marry. This is the number one cause of failure, who you decide to marry. That's crazy from what they researched, but I see it. If you see someone who is an amazing person, but then they get with a certain partner and they totally change and they break and they're sad and they're miserable and life is horrible and hard. But then they go and they meet this new person and they're with them and they become this power couple and they thrive and they support each other's goals. Their experience of the day-to-day life is better. They understand each other. They're happier. Okay. Everyone still has moments, but who you're with can make a huge, huge difference. And especially like just basic things, even like how much money do you have? What is your day-to-day like? What are the opportunities that you have? How emotional are some people? Or how much peace does a partner have, in healing and inner work have they done or not done? You know, like what do they do? What habits do they have? What are their goals for life? What are their values? All of these things are really important. So be really careful who you choose to marry. 16, you have to take some risk. Okay? It can be calculated, but we want to avoid being overly cautious. Okay? We want to avoid being overly cautious. If you're overly cautious and you're too worried about the fears, what could go wrong, the problems, the lawsuits, the issues, stealing, whatever it is, anything that could go wrong, you're not going to get what could go right. Because if you are doing something challenging, hard, or something big, yeah, there are going to be more risks, okay? But we want to calculate them and then take action that we think we would be able to take and that would be reasonable. We don't want to just go, well, this could happen and that could happen. And oh no, and oh no, and oh no, I'm scared, I'm fearful. That's living in the fear. Okay, you could think that's being smart. And I know sometimes I would think that, like, no, this is smart. Like, this could happen. So why would I do that? Why would I do that to myself? Why would I do that to my family? Whatever. But no risk in life equals no reward. It's so simple. Even I always talk about, like, if you're out there in the world and then you see a cute person and then you're like, oh my gosh, like, I want to date you. And then you're like, no, it's too scary. Like, she could reject me. She could do this. And so you never ask her, but it's like, that could be your soulmate. That could be your future wife. You didn't ask her. So take the risk. 17, make sure you pick good people to associate with. Okay. We talked about this with a spouse. Okay. Picking a good partner. Picking the right one, but you want to do this also in your career field or in business. So if you have a company and you have to have some type of business partner or people you're working with, you want to pick good people. Okay? This is where a lot of failures happen because you pick the wrong people. Or even an employer. Say you're a teacher, but you're stuck making like $50K a year and you've been working for 12 years. You could go to a different place and they might pay you 90 to 100,000. Or you know you're an amazing teacher and you're like, I want to package my skills and share them in a different way. And so I'm going to get paid more money. And I know it's not all about the money, etc. But even the school environment here, you could be making that, but then there could be bad leadership. There could be a lot of problems here. And so be very, very mindful on who you're associating with, who you're doing business with, and who you're ultimately doing life with. Because remember, we talked about that even with genetics or with our environment, who you're around and who's around you infects you. Okay, so we want to be surrounded by a lot of this good so that we get infected with the good. 18, stay open-minded. I've seen this a lot in Think and Grow Rich. You have to be open to experience, open to opportunity, open to life. Okay? If you are closed, even if you're an introvert, but if you're closed off, you're just in your house all the time, you're not open to these things, you're not going to get more out there. And so the opposite would be very superstitious, having superstition, having prejudice, and these beliefs that aren't helpful. And all of these things is actually a form of fear. And remember, fear holds us back and takes us to places we don't want to be. We want to be in faith mode, in open mode, in possibility mode, so that we can go where we actually want to go. You could think this is smart and that you have it all figured out, but it's actually a form of ignorance and not knowing and not being as smart. 19, pick something you love or at least like. So you have to find a way to make money, right? We have to have a way to make money in life because that's the tool that helps us to buy a house, take care of our family, our partner, to be able to have freedom, to make choices that we want. And so we need this money, right? To be able to do all the things that we want to do and to enjoy our lives. But if you're not doing something you love, your day to day, your Monday, your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, repeated over and over and over and over again, is going to be miserable. Number one, it's miserable. You want to do something you enjoy. Number two, if you actually love something, you're more willing to do the hard work to get there. Like, I love YouTube. So I'm like, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to do the hard work because I love it. And I have a strong mission, a strong reason behind it. And it feels just so good doing this. So I'm going to keep going even when it's hard or frustrating or we're having down moments, right? And then the other reason you want to do something you enjoy or get in the right lane is because your lane dictates your outcome. Okay, so if we're in the lane of YouTube, there is a potential to impact lots of people, right? If I decided just to teach 5 kids a year, that's a different lane. Okay, that's great. That's still 5 kids every year, but maybe I could reach millions here and impact. Like if someone had said, hey, I wish you could be my mentor. I'm like, hey, you can't. I can. Join the page. I'll share. I'll help. Okay? It matters. And with the vocation, it was talking about picking the right vocation. And that's why I said do something you love and that you enjoy. But it's also just, there's so many people that I've met that don't have a lot of money, that are super smart, that are super kind, that are super good people, but they just didn't pick necessarily the right vocation that would get them kind of some of these results, like riches, peace, freedom. Like, even though they were great at what they did and they could have lived, and they probably did live a good life doing it, and they were happy overall, their outcomes would have been better if they found the right vocation that would have they would have been aligned with, but that would have given them more money, would have given them more peace, would have given them more freedom, would have given them more purpose, and been more in alignment. And I really, really believe in this. So just be super mindful. And my book does talk about like how to pick this and thinking of your ikigai, like what does the world need? What are you good at? What do you love? And what can you get paid for and paid a decent amount for? And if you can find the intersection of those things where all these circles meet, you're going to be a lot happier. Number 20. Have a chief aim. Aim. If we are shooting bow and arrows, okay, doing archery, and we have a target here, we have a target, it's clear. I am aiming here, okay? You're more likely to hit the target because we know this is where I'm trying to aim. I'm going to keep practicing to get there. If you don't have a clear target, if you're here, you're trying to achieve your goals, and there's nothing out here, like, what am I going to be aiming at? So you really want to pick one thing to aim at and then aim. 21, you want to make sure you have money. Okay? When you get money, yay, I earned some money. Don't just spend it all on everything you want. Take some of the money and pay it back to yourself. Because if you don't have any money, like even now we have this money, this foundation and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there's more freedom. There's more options that we now have because of this. So money is a tool. It's very powerful. Pay yourself some of it to help yourself to have more to invest in your knowledge, your skills, and everything else. Number 22, be enthusiastic. Have energy, okay? If you don't have enthusiasm or energy, it's going to be really, really hard to achieve your goals. Energy is infectious. It's contagious. So if someone is really happy or they believe in their product, they believe in what they do, they're confident, they have this energy about them, right? That's going to show and infect people who are listening or who are like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, like I believe you. This makes sense. Okay, you can help me. Cool. Let me go to you. Okay? But again, like if you are this negative energy, negative, draining, yo, the world stinks, everyone's awful, they're just losers, Life sucks. Okay, remember, you're repelling people away from you. Run away! And they're going to go find someone who is more this loving, happy person. And so be really, really mindful about your energy. Being enthusiastic too, like, I believe, I believe, I believe. Enthusiasm is a form of belief. And when you have that, you are unstoppable. 23, you have to keep learning. Okay? If you become intolerant of things and you're just like, no, this is me, this is what I believe, 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 everything else is wrong, and you're closed off again, closed-minded, you're going to stay stuck and stay exactly where you are. Okay? You have to keep learning if you want to keep rising in your life. Don't overindulge, okay, of anything. Food, sex, negative thinking, drinking, fears, anything you overindulge in of the negative stuff or stuff that could hurt you, because they do have negative consequences. Not all of these things only bring happiness. These can really bring destruction if you're not careful. So you have to be super mindful. Now, why? Okay, if you're this super capable person and then you're focusing on food all the time, it's controlling you, like, you're not going to be focused on what you need to. You're not going to have the energy, right, or the capacity. Same thing with sex. Like, you can have some, but then be careful. Or with addictions or going to the screens and stuff for it, it can really damage you and it's not very healthy for you. And so instead, you wake up and you use the energy to do more things and to produce good things in the world. Negative thinking, if you indulge in that, yes, sometimes we get an automatic negative thought in our head, but we need to kill the ants. And if we kill them, we can replace it with positivity and then we're going to be good. But if we keep indulging this negativity, remember, we put the negative in, we get the negative out. So we have to be careful. Drinking, some people drink a little bit. I don't drink at all. Again, it's not necessarily helping you. Fear, being fearful, being stuck, not going to help. 25. Can you get along? Okay? People who don't get along with other people are not going to be successful. We've talked about this. We've talked about why, but you have to be able to cooperate with others. Okay? Like, if you want to be a leader, if you want to have customers, if you want to serve people, you have to be able to get along with and reach those people. Okay? And so how can we do that? We can be a person who is positive, who has the brains, who has the love and compassion, who has something to give, who is empathetic, and who listens to the people. Okay? You want to be that person so that other people want to be around you because you have a mission, right? Like, if I'm here to help people and I'm just grumpy or I'm like not listening to people, is that helping people? No. And so I need to be open-minded. I need to be these things so that I can actually serve the people I'm trying to serve. Have power from yourself. Okay? A lot of people who maybe inherited money, they have a hard time. Now, some people inherit money from their families and they do fine. And so it matters. But when you build something for yourself, or when someone, even Kylie Jenner, who she obviously got money from her parents, but then she figured out how to build something and she did that work to build her brand and Kylie Cosmetics, and things like that. It was a lot of work. So she can appreciate it more because it came from the self. It wasn't just her mom and dad saying, hey, here's $1 million every single month and go live. She had money and she used that money to go build and to create and to have an outcome. And so be mindful. Don't just if someone's giving you money, don't just sit with it and relax. Even I got money for birthdays and things, and I used it to help invest and propel me higher and forward. I didn't just go, haha, and I'm going to buy whatever I want and get slippers and a crown and whatever. No. when you build something, when you do something, it feels better in any realm. 27, be honest. In life, this will catch up with you. In business and in any of these things, like, be honest, be truthful. If this is you and you're trying to help people or you're trying to provide a product or something, if you're not honest, your reputation is going to go down. People aren't going to trust you. People aren't going to buy from you. People aren't going to want to be around you. They're going to run away from you, right? Honesty is so important, right? And Dan Martell talks about this, like your reach and your reputation is going to determine a lot for you. Who can you reach and what do they think about you? Please be honest. It can be hard to do, but it's worse if you're not. Be humble. Okay, if you're ruled by the ego, that's another signal to stay away from you. People who are vain, people who are rude, people who think they are all that, people don't want to be around them. People want to be around people who make them feel like they are all that, like they are the best, they are of value, not the other way around. 29, don't just guess, think accurately. Find out the information. It's so simple, but instead, people will make an opinion instead of a fact. I see this in people's personal lives. They're like, wait, you did this and this happened? And it wasn't the fact. And so they created problems believing the wrong thing, right? And what we think, thoughts are things, remember? Okay? And so if we're thinking the wrong things or things that aren't going to help us, we're going to get what's not going to help. Capital. Make sure you have enough capital. Do you have to go raise $1 million? Not necessarily. Sarah Blakely started with $5,000. And then you can hopefully use this money and then you make money. And then you reinvest that back into the business, buy more stuff, go, and then eventually you'll just keep making more and more money and you'll have more money to do that with. But a lack of capital can be a problem. Like if you don't have the money to buy the products that you need to sell, it's going to be a problem. And this is where you can use debt to help you and not to get you stuck in consumer debt, but to help you build something. Okay, time for a little self-reflection. I always do lots of audits on myself. This is super, super important to take the time and the energy to do this because you're going to, again, go higher and achieve more and be happier when you reflect. You have to be aware in order to change something. So do the personal inventory and ask yourself some questions. So, did you set a goal this year? If you did, have you attained it? Yes or no? Okay. What can you do to improve it? So if you did it, set it, and then you did achieve it, okay, why do you think you achieved it? If you didn't, what can you do better? Did you deliver the best quality you could have? Even with me for YouTube, if I'm trying to build a bigger channel, I'm like, okay, well, I tried, I put in effort, but yeah, some of the videos or the quality or how I look or things aren't as good as it could be. So I'm working on it, and videos that are coming out soon are better. And so I'm going to continue to work on the best quality and figure out who am I serving, who am I helping, how can I get better, and how can I improve my product, my service. The next part is quantity. Okay, did you do enough reps? Okay, did I only post 3 YouTube videos when I probably need to practice a little bit more? Did you reach out to 100 people when maybe you needed to reach out to 100,000 people? And in this group, you're probably going to have more yeses than in a group of 100. You're going to have only a couple yeses, most likely, unless you're really at the perfect audience. So that is important. You want to know, how have you been conducting yourself? Remember, are we acting more positive? Are we acting more negatively? How are we showing up? And have I improved my personality? Am I showing up with more energy, more engagement, more compassion, and more care? If you are, you're probably doing a pretty good job. Have you been persistent and following the plan? Okay, we have a plan, but have you continued? Okay, I said I'm going to go this many days. Am I matching that up? Or am I just going, not going, not going, going, going? Okay, we can improve here. I've done a little bit, great job, but let's do more. Have I made decisions promptly? Okay, or did I think about it in January and now I'm still thinking about it and it's almost December? Okay, sometimes you need to think through these things, but does it really need to take that long? Have I allowed fear to set in, even temporarily? Okay, like I'm doing really good this week, and then this week I was just so fearful and that interrupted my progress. I got back to it, but that's an area to improve and to grow. Okay, was I overcautious about something, or was I not cautious enough and I risked too much? People have to find their checks and balances there with, are we risking too much? Are we not? Am I budgeting? Am I investing money in the right place that will help me grow as a person and that will help our business grow? Okay. Have I been honest? Have I been trustworthy? Have I provided the best service possible? Okay. And another thing to ask, would I hire or use me? Okay, Jesse Itzler says this, but it says it in Think and Grow Rich right here. Would I be a follower of my YouTube channel? Would I recommend myself to someone else? Would I hire or use me? If not, why? Okay, is the quality not as good? Is the vision or the mission sporadic? Is it random? Not great edits? Is it not very upbeat? They don't look presentable. Like, what is it? Like, why or why not? Okay, once you've evaluated yourself, let's take a moment to be thankful. When you express gratitude, you are attracting better things back towards you, okay? And some of these basic things, like food, like water, shelter, and clothing, is something to be grateful for. And even people that love us or that we love. These things are so essential. And it is a privilege and an advantage to have some of these things because you're not worrying about where am I going to get my food? Where am I going to get water? Who loves me? Who cares about me? Do I have shelter? Like when you're just worried about that, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I actually talk about this in my book. If you want to be self-actualized, which is the highest level you can be, which is reaching your full potential, if you want to be that, you have to meet the basic needs here. You have to have your basic, like fundamental needs like food, clothing, water. You need to have emotional needs met. Okay. You need to have some of these other needs met first before you can actually reach your potential, right? Like, yeah, if you have everything, you still have to do a lot of action and a lot of work to get there. Okay. But if you don't have these things, it's going to be even harder. So be grateful for what you do have now. Okay. Capital equals money. And this is the most foundational tool needed for society and for self. People say that the love of money destroys people and destroys societies. But I think like if you're in the inner cities, there's a lot more crime. It's not because money is evil. It's because we need money and there's a lack. Okay, so I think it's the lack of this money that can cause these problems in all sorts of places and all over the world. If more people had more money and then they did the healing on the inside, like money plus healing equals magic. Okay, but capital, we live in a capitalistic society. And capitalism guarantees every person the opportunity to get money, to have the tool, and to thrive and create whatever they want. And so I think this is essential because people forget there's parts, if we have the map of the world and our continents, very talented drawing. If we have the continents, there's places in the world that you don't have the opportunity. You don't have the choice. You don't have the option. And so in America, we do have lots of people with lots of money, and we have lots of people in the middle, and we have lots of people without a lot of money. But there is opportunity. And just because, yes, it is harder if you start with less money, okay? Some people that it can be an unfair advantage, and there's a book, The Unfair Advantage. Please check that out, how you can use that. It's actually an unfair advantage and finding that than if you had a lot of money or opportunities. But both of these people can still get money and rise. They still have the opportunity. They just have to find it. So capitalism, it's important to know that is the society. You could say, well, I just want to sit at home all day and do nothing or just be with my family. Okay, you're going to need money to be able to do that. If you have the money, you create these income sources, and then you get to choose what you do with your life and with your time. And if you have the money, then you could, maybe you're like, I want to stay home and be with my beautiful kids and my beautiful family. Then great. Then you can. But usually you need this. You don't just get to wake up and exist in the world, and that's what it is. You have to have money. Don't let the outside influence the inside. Been talking about this a few times, but this just showed up in this chapter and on this page. Okay? Why? This is super, super important because a lot of people will let opinions, fears, doubts, worries, questions, or other people's beliefs, their own limitations, and their own closedness infect here. When they could have an amazing brain and be like, yay, I'm going to put out love. I'm going to put out service. Yay, I'm going to help. Yay, there's potential in the world and so much good and money, and it's all great. But if you let this stuff start to infect you, you're never going to achieve the results that you could. The money, the happiness, the relationships, the service, the wealth, the joy. Be careful. Wisdom comes through silence. Please remember this. If you encounter someone, the smartest person is usually the most quiet. And not just quiet, but the one who listens. When they encounter another human being, they will ask questions. They will seek to learn. They will seek to listen. Even if it's someone that you're smarter than, you can still learn from their experience. You can learn from their thinking, and that can help you back in your life. So the smartest people, if you're really smart, you don't have to prove something. Wealthy people will share, like what they've got going on. If they've got some good things going on, they will tell about it. But usually wealthy people will also ask, be curious. I think Warren Buffett met with someone and he just asked them questions the whole time. And they were like, oh my gosh, I learned nothing from Warren, but I did learn one key thing. I need to ask more questions and I need to listen. He's a billionaire. He's really successful. I need to listen more. Be mindful. I always tell our students too, like, you have 2 ears for a reason and 1 mouth, okay? Our mouths are very important, and clearly talking, sharing, and helping and serving is important, but we have to listen and absorb and think first. Remember, tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. So you tell through your actions, hey, I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to get fit. So I'm showing up at the gym. I'm eating healthy. That's your actions. You're telling the world, that's who I am. That's what I want. Don't just say, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to do this. Actually start doing it. Okay, we talked about the importance of decisions and making them and sticking with it, right? Okay, decisions are really important. I'm going to give you 2 examples. So when there was a battle for America's independence, there was something, the declaration, that they needed to sign. Okay? And instead of signing it, some people were scared. It was said to be a death sentence. If you sign this and you agree, you might be killed. Okay? But people signed it. They were brave. They made a decision. They had to be brave, right? Decisions aren't just decisions. There's a lot of thinking and mental faculties that are used with it. But they decided and they stuck to it. And guess what? What did America end up being? Free and independent. It worked out, okay? Sometimes our choices and we stick to them, it's not going to get the outcome that we desire, but decisions are the only way to get outcomes, right? We have to make choices, and we want to make good choices ideally so we can get those good outcomes, but we need to make a decision, okay? Even FedEx, the gentleman who started FedEx, Fred Smith went to Yale, and he was the founder of Federal Express. You guys know what that is? Yep. FedEx, okay? And so he had these ideas and he wrote this paper and with the airline industry and with air freight and how to transport different things. And he disagreed from the original thesis and what most people were saying. And then he thought so many people were going to agree with his idea and see the potential that he saw. And they didn't. But he decided, you know what, I'm going to do this anyways. I'm going to do this. And so he did that. And then he ended up being the number 1 in his industry in time. But it all started with a decision. If he would have decided to listen to them and to not do it, would he have created FedEx? No. Okay. It's just like people who decide not to wear their seatbelt and then they get in a crash. And then if they die, like obviously that makes a difference if you wore your seatbelt or if you decided to go to a party and then you ended up meeting your future spouse. Like all of these decisions, both little and big, matter. And so we want to be good at making decisions and we want to know when we should stick to them and when we should pivot. If you want money, you have to think and do and act like someone who deserves money and who will get money. Money starts in the mind. If we have a poverty mindset, if we are thinking negatively, if we have a bad mindset, if we are whining, if we are negative and focusing on the bad, that's going to create what? More bad. And so we have to be telling ourselves that failure is okay. What's not okay is stopping. Because guess what? If we stop here, remember, if we kept going, we could fail more times. We don't know how many more times, but eventually you're going to learn, get better, iterate, and succeed. So we can't let ourselves quit. We have to persist. And we've talked about that. Every failure brings with it the seed of equal advantage. So when you're planting these seeds, you could eventually, like it seems like a failure. Oh, this didn't work. Oh, this didn't work. Oh, this didn't work. Oh, this didn't work. But eventually you are going to grow this beautiful tree and this beautiful orchard with nice fruits to bear if you persist and keep going. If you experience defeat or something not working, remember, it's temporary. Even feeling sad, does that usually last forever or to infinity? No, it changes. So the rain is eventually going to stop. The good times are eventually going to be met with something challenging. That is how it works. So if I'm posting to YouTube and it's going really well, but then it stops going really well, does that mean, oh, my channel's done? Oh, I'm not meant to do this. Oh, this is horrible. No. Keep going and eventually you're going to get it back again. And then you're going to go through this period again and then it's going to go back up again. That is part of the journey. It's these hills and these valleys that we have to continue on with. Persist. Persistence is simply a state of your mind. Okay? And a state means we can change it. So if we're not that way, we can alter it so that we are. In order to have this state of persistence, we want to have this clear purpose. It's definitive. We know what we want. Remember, we talked about this at the beginning. So what do you want? And if you don't know what you want, you're not going to get what you want. So first, know what you want. I want this for Christmas. Boom, right? Like if you just say, I don't know what I want for Christmas, you might get random stuff. Your parents might really know you and they might still get you exactly what you wanted. But usually you have to say, I want a football. Okay, now I know I'm going to get you a football, right? Like it has to be very, very clear. 2, you have to then desire it. So you have to know what you want, but then you have to actually like desire it and want to get it. Okay? Like if I'm just like, ooh, I'd love a YouTube channel, but like I don't really desire it. Like I don't really want to get it, then why would you get it? You probably won't. And remember, it needs to be intense, passionate, burning. Don't just like, yeah, like I would love this. I really want it. It's like, I really, really want it. Really, I want it. Okay? That's the difference. And it brings a different energy, which brings different actions and different attitude, which is really, really essential as well. And number 3, self-reliance is essential. You have to be able to count on you and believe in you. Remember, we talked about people can believe in you, and that infuses your own belief. Like if you're here and then you have a parent or a coach or someone believing in the good of you, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I can do it. But you have to be the one. You can have someone help you, but you have to be the one to believe in you. If you don't believe in you, other people won't. Like if you have customers you're trying to help or serve or to teach, or you're trying to teach kids this concept, and then you don't even believe in it and you're not showing conviction and passion, why would they believe in you? They're not going to. Believe in you first, and then that's going to help other people believe too. Remember, we have to have our organized plans. We have to have definite plans of action and know what we need to do, even if we don't know exactly how to get there. But we have to have actions and deadlines and dates. Like even if I want to go to the gym, it's not just like, hey, I need to go to the gym. Okay, when? I'm going to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to do this, 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 and this on this day. Be very, very specific if you want to get an outcome. We have accurate knowledge. Okay, don't just observe or guess. You have to actually know. You have to know that you can. You have to know the information. You have to know what you're selling in order to sell it. Remember, we also must cooperate with people. We must work with people. We must serve people and be someone who people want to be served by. We have to have willpower to be able to continue on and to concentrate And to stay focused, focus on one course until successful. Okay? And this persistence is actually a habit. It's a habit. Like, I'm persisting with my YouTube because that is what I've done with everything, whether it was for trying to make a sports team or make volleyball, or if I was trying to learn some math problems or equations. That's what I did. I realized I needed to persist. And if I kept persisting and trying and learning, I would eventually get the result. Make it a habit, make that a part of who you are, and you will get more in your life. Ideas are the start. This is the starting line. Okay? But an idea is stillborn if it's not infused with action, the habits, right, which are actions, and the definite plans. Okay? You have to take the ideas and put them into actions, put them into habits, and put them into a system so that we get the result that we desire. Ideas are great. We have to start here. And, you can't eventually get here if you don't have this. So, sure, try to feed good ideas and get as many as you can. But then don't just stay in idea mode. You got to then get yourself to go along this path to get here, or as we talk about, whatever outcome we desire. Okay, so we've been talking about how important persistence is. Okay, and here we have Domino's Pizza. Okay, we've been talking about how important you need to be with persistence. Okay, and we're going to talk about an example with Domino's Pizza. Okay, so a gentleman, Tom Monaghan, was the founder of Domino's. Okay, thank you, Tom. Now, he had to display a lot of persistence. And what is persistence again? It's the willingness to keep going, to push, to continue. Okay, that is to persist, right? We're going to continue on. We're going to keep going. We're going to go no matter how tough or hard something gets, okay? Because if you're trying to achieve a nice big goal, your path to success is not linear, okay? And it's not easy. Like, if it were easy, everyone would do it. I say that a lot, and then when I have a hard time, my husband's like, Elizabeth, if it were easy, wouldn't everyone do that? Like, if it were easy to just get a ton of money and millions of dollars, wouldn't everyone be rich? If it was easy to do the healing work and be happy and peaceful, would everyone do it? Easy to be healthy and to be fit, would everyone do it? Yes. And so Domino's, it didn't always start out to be perfect. He actually built it in 1989, and then he sold it to someone else, and then it ended up tanking and doing poorly. And so 2 years later, he popped back in and said, I'm the father of Domino's. I'm going to continue on and help. And so he went in to help. And eventually, things picked up. It got better. It improved. But then remember that 30-minute guarantee where that really helped them stand out. It was like, we will get your pizza to you in under 30 minutes, 30 minutes or less. But that caused some lawsuits. Okay, and people sued him because they said that the delivery drivers driving the cars were going so fast and speeding to try to get the pizza to the house in under 30 minutes. It caused crashes and killed some people. And so some woman was awarded $3 million because of that. And then another woman was awarded $78 million for her death because of a Domino's driver trying to rush it under 30 minutes. And so they eventually stopped the 30-minute thing. You probably haven't heard that before, but he continued on, and he had been through hard things in his life, poverty, abuse, horrible situations. And so he was tough and resilient, and he knew how to keep going, right? And he was determined. And part of persistence is being determined with your goal and your mission and your why. Why do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you have that passion and that burning desire that we talk about, right? Do you have it? And so he did. And now Domino's is number one in the pizza industry today. Persist, keep going, decide what you want, stick with it. Now, if you want any outcome, you need to know what it is. Okay? So what is the outcome you seek? Napoleon Hill says if you asked 98 out of 100 people, or 100 people, 98 of them would not know what the outcome they wanted would be. Okay? And so they could maybe tell you, oh, I want more money. I want more security. I want more freedom. But they couldn't tell you super specifically exactly what they want and how they plan to arrive there. And that is the difference. You have to have a very clear plan and knowledge on how to get there. And so if you want to be persistent and achieve your goals in your life, there's a few things you can do. It doesn't matter how smart you are. I do talk about that on my channel, and you can increase your intelligence, but it doesn't matter how smart. It doesn't matter what education you have or what education you don't have. And it doesn't take a ton of time, and it doesn't take a ton of effort. Anyone can do these things. So you have to have a definite purpose, okay, backed by burning what? We know it now, desire, okay, for it to happen. Okay, so what is our purpose? What is our goal? And do we have that desire? Okay, if we don't have the fire, it's not going to work out. Okay, so what is it? And do we have that fire in that plan? Then we have a definite, notice it's all definites, plan. Okay, how do we get it and express it into continuous action? It's the compound effect. Over time, we're multiplying these efforts, and they add up and they compound and they multiply, and then they give us exponential results, right? If we only ate healthy on this day and this day, this day, this day, that's going to be a different result than if you ate healthy on all of these days, right? And so you got to take those actions and know, what is my plan to get there? You want to keep your mind closed tightly. And now this is something that I think I can be very, very persistent, very, very passionate, very encouraged. And sometimes, even recently, I was opened back up to just say I keep myself in this little part of the world. Okay, I kind of open myself up to more thinking, more social media stuff that I don't normally, stuff like that. And oh my gosh, it just was a lot. Okay, and it just felt like, even look at this, it looks so chaotic right there. Instead of just staying, here's the few people I follow, here's what I do, I focus on these things, I fuel myself with these things, and then I create these things. Okay, this is more streamlined and more simple. So you have to keep your mind closed tightly to anything that's negative, anything that is going to bring you down and take you away from what you can and will do, because you can and you will. And then a friendly alliance with encouragement, okay? Even someone you don't know, obviously it's helpful if you can actually talk to them, but even me staying encouraged by these online mentors, Dan Martell, Ed Milet, Sarah Blakely, Jesse Itzler, these people have unknowingly helped me to be persistent, to take the actions, and to rise up and get stronger when I stay focused on them. And they're in my wheelhouse. When I expand to all this other random stuff, or even Taylor Swift's album came out and you're focusing on that, it's like, come back to here, come back to center. I even talk about that when I get stressed out. You know, I always go back to my center of the circle, which is me. And then I can take care of the family. Then I can take care of the other things and then the world. I always go back to me. And when you do this, you want to follow through. So you made a plan. You decided what you wanted. You know that you need to do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know exactly what you're doing on Monday. You know what you're doing on Tuesday. You know what you're doing on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have Sunday. You know exactly what you're doing. You got to follow through. You got to stick to it. And if you fall off, you got to get back on. But how can you schedule? If you're doing content, you say you're going to post every single day. Can you batch record and spend 5 hours, make some videos and then edit, and then you can post them, but schedule it so that it's all ready to go. I know even with my shorts, I don't schedule those usually. And so sometimes I'm really consistent with those, and sometimes there'll be a few days where I'm thinking or creating and I'm not putting those out there. And so if I had scheduled them and had them all ready, they're ready to go. Just like my long form videos are ready to go through for the next few months. Okay. And so follow through with your plan plus your purpose. It is very, very, very important. And remember, it is a privilege to write your own ticket and to choose what you want to do in life, if you're born here in this certain country, or with this family or with this lack of money or no internet or whatever the situation is, you don't even have the choice. And that's what Sarah Blakely talks about, the billionaire founder of Spanx. She talks about how her options versus her mother's options with a 21 or 23 year difference was insane. And she uses her money to support women. And obviously she doesn't say that women should all go build $1 billion business, but she wants to support women who are mothers, who are leaders in the community, who do care and who do good things and so it's just nice to have the option. And I think that can be hard when we get to choose, because it's oh my gosh, I have so many options and so many choices and it's overwhelming, but it's a gift. And so we got to hone in, make our choice, and make a path. If you want to succeed, you need to have vision. You need to have fortitude. You need to have unwavering confidence. And that will make your concept succeed. Woo! Win. Okay. Vision. What does it mean to have a vision? To hold a clear idea of a desired future outcome, a picture of you want to create or achieve in your mind. You can see it, you can hold it in your head. Okay? So that's why we talk about vision boards. If there's certain people you want to meet, if you want to get married or have kids, how many kids, who do you want to get married to, what house do you want to live in, what job do you want to have, what do you want to eat, make the vision board, see it in your head. There's a song that says from a famous artist, it was I saw it all in my head. And Ed Milet, who coaches super successful people, he talks about see the colors, go back from black and white, re-record things, see who's around you, get really clear. And I think a lot of us are really good at this for sometimes negative situations. And we can make up these stories in our head and get so clear. And that's why I've done that a few times in my life. And some situations feel so real, or maybe someone else experienced them and I'm making up what they experienced. And I feel this pain and all this energy because I made up this story and feelings in my head. So do that, but with the positives and with the things that you want, and create a vision board. Maybe I'll do that on this channel. When I started writing things down and deciding what I wanted, it was so life-changing. I actually got it. And I talk about that in my book. Fortitude is the strength of mind to face adversity courageously or to, not that one. So the fortitude is the courage to endure pain, hardship, or adversity with patience and with firmness. And so remember, you're going to go through hardship and adversity, but you have to stay firm. You have to stay patient. You have to continue and not falter instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm taking my action. Oh no, there's a lot of pain here. I'm going to stop for a while. Okay, I'll get back to it. Oh no, pain, I'm going to stop for a while. This is not going to get the same result as like, okay, I'm going to keep showing up. Even if I didn't show up fully or as my best, I'm going to show up, or I'm going to schedule things so that when I'm not feeling my best, my content and my things are still going out. Great. Keep going. And then unwavering confidence. You have to just believe in yourself. It goes with that belief that you're sturdy, that you can do this, and that you know your value and you know what you have to offer, to share, and to give. They talk about being obsessed. Are you obsessed? Do you really want it? Right? Like, how bad do you want it? That's another song too. How bad do you want it? Become obsessed with it. Successful people don't just get something if they just like kind of want it. They become obsessed. And that is their main focus and mission and drive. Okay, so we have a plan. We know what we want. We're going to persist. We're going to do all these things. We're going to believe. We're going to have confidence. But what about support? Should we do this on our own? So in Think and Grow Rich, it talks about the power of a master mind. It talks about how a single battery clearly isn't going to have the same power as if you have a whole pack of batteries working together. And that is the point and the goal, that we can add all of this power up to whatever you're doing and to make it 10 times stronger and better and more likely to occur. Now, earlier in the book, it talks about Henry Ford and also Thomas Edison. Okay, and when Thomas Edison, the famous inventor, invented the light bulb and other things, when he combined with Henry Ford actually started doing so much better and started thriving. But it was the combination of these two. It's a mastermind. The mastermind is when you combine your knowledge, combine insights, intelligence, offerings. Basically, it's just togetherness. Okay, combine it together. It says here, people take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those that they associate in a spirit of empathy, sympathy, and harmony. So, if you are around, let's see. Remember, we talked about the people that influence you. Who are you around? What are you thinking? Okay, if I'm around Dan Martell, and he's working on becoming a billionaire, and he's built an audience with millions of people, and he's serving, and he has businesses, and he has a good family, and he's healthy, and he's fit. Like, all of these things, and a good mindset, wealthy, he's got the relationships, stuff like that. That's going into my head and what he's doing. I'm surrounding myself with that type of person and with those things. And so be really, really conscious, because someone like Henry Ford, they say he whipped poverty and all of the other stuff and crap because he was around really bright, brilliant, wonderful people. And so you could be like, well, I don't have those people around me. Go on the internet. I have a video on that. You're using social media wrong. Use social media to then influence you and to be around them. So you could be on the screen and kind of get a peek into it. Obviously, you might not get to have these one-on-one conversations, but you still get to glean and get the information that they're thinking, or the habits that they have, or how they achieved what they've achieved. And you get an inside scoop on that. And my dad used to be like, Elizabeth, you're on your phone so much. Like, as I got older, I wasn't always like that. But I'm like, yeah, it's changing my life. I'm not just watching random crap. Okay. Maybe sometimes, I'm still human, but you get to peek through this door and get into their brains. Use it. In the book, it talks about a successful gentleman, Andrew Grove. Okay. He is the CEO of a company, Intel Corporation. Okay. And they faced some difficulties, technical difficulties, and they had some problems in 1976. Unfortunately, there was this little chip, and they discovered that a lot of the chips had a defect and would have caused problems. So it wasn't like this small thing, and it would have cost $475 million to replace and to deliver a product that was not perfect. And so they decided, hey, instead of delivering what's not perfect, let's go ahead and spend the $475 million. He's a CEO, and he had all these people in his company from different departments. Okay, there was the technical team, there's the marketing team, the financial team, they had the administrative team, a bunch of different teams, and they all broke off into these masterminds and thought, and they came up with the same idea, but then they used their own knowledge, experience, creativity, and expertise to come up with more solutions and to put in the time and the energy to be able to find an eventual solution. And this company ended up thriving and just soaring back up where it was supposed to be. But it was this initial decision, instead of just making it all on his own, right? We talk about the importance of decisions and making a decision, sticking with it, and then riding that out to see what happens and giving it enough time. But if he was by himself, it would have been more challenging to make that decision when he had everybody on board and when they were all doing work and he could trust them to do that thing and then to bring it back to him. It really made a huge difference. And you can probably see that even like I played travel soccer growing up, right? And so if we're on a team and we have our whole team and there's a problem and I don't know, we have like 5 minutes left of the game and it's 2-2 and we want to win the game, we're going to all huddle up and meet up and have a mastermind, quote unquote. Okay, in teaching, it's called think, pair, share. You think on your own, then you pair up with two people, and then you share out with everybody else in the group. So it's these 3 steps that can help you. But we group together and we kind of have this mastermind of all 11 people. If we can't go off the field, there's 11 on our team. I know it's not 11, but you think about it and you figure out, okay, what can we do here? This person go do this person here. We're going to go take the back and we'll do this thing. And you come up with a strategy instead of just we're all on your own, right? Even if you're really good players, when you join in a group like that, it just makes such a big difference and can take you even further. And then you can end up scoring that last goal and winning the game. Okay, hopefully everyone on here is an adult. In Think and Grow Rich, it does talk about some other things that I am going to talk about because that's part of it. So if you want to skip, that's fine. Sex, transmutation. Okay, I'm going to explain this briefly but clearly so you understand. And I think I don't know, it can be uncomfortable for people. I'm a health and PE teacher, so we have to talk about this. So I'm like, this is a part of life. But it can either, this energy of sex, love, and romance can either bring you down and destroy you and waste your time and waste your energy, or you can use it in a positive way, which I'll explain because you might not even know exactly what I mean right now, in a way to be more confident, to fuel your desires, to fuel your goals, to fuel your dreams, to have more energy, to be more magnetic, to make better connections, and more. And so people who harness this power are more likely to be successful and be in a better energy state, which is what you want, right? We don't want to be sucked down this way. This is part of biology and evolution, and it's what it is, right? It is survive and reproduce, and we're spiritual beings. So this is part of just how we are. Remember, survive, reproduce, and our spirits. And so if we can tap into it and use it in a positive way, it's going to be great. One part it says is a man whose achievements were largely inspired by a woman. Most male leaders' achievements were inspired by their romantic partner. And so having that partnership was critical in having those feelings of love, sex, romance in their life were essential to what happened outside in the world. So the whole point of this is because it's one of the most powerful emotions that you can feel, and emotions and feelings can really trigger and change your actions. And so you want to transmute this really strong emotion and feeling and use that in this positive and essential way. And so ways to do that is the desire for your own sexual expression. Okay, that is a normal thing. After you go through puberty, when you go through puberty and later as you become an adult, it's normal to have that expression. So how can you channel that? The actual feeling of love, whether it's for a partner, a child, an object, something that you care about in the world, animals, that is a really strong emotion and feeling. And that is the goal. We want to have these strong feelings within us that help us vibrate higher, right? We're spiritual beings. And we're made up of these particles. We want to have a higher vibration. You can just tell, even if I'm just out in the world and I'm around different people, there's certain people that I just see more deeply and connect with more emotionally or spiritually because they are feeling certain emotions. You can tell they're more deep, if you want to say it like that, or they're vibrating higher. You can say it like that. They're very conscious is kind of a thing there, right? And so another one is having a burning desire for something. And not all of these have to do with this. That's what I was saying, but it all encompasses some of it. But like if they want this desire for money or fame, that's going to come through. That's a very strong emotion. Music can be so powerful. I use this so much. I'm very careful with music, and music affects me very deeply. And I use it to give me energy, to pump me up and to feel confident and to have these feelings. And I think that's essential to my success and how I show up. And then I show up with more energy and I'm more sunshiny and positive. And a lot of it has to do with the confidence and the feelings I am generating for myself through music. Okay. Friendship. You exchange a lot of emotions. It can be with the same sex. It could be with the opposite sex. It just depends. Your mastermind alliance, when you are having, that mastermind together, that can bring a lot of energy. Mutual suffering, which is super, super interesting. And so I know you might be like, how does this have to do with sex? Like, no, it's this emotional energy that we have as human beings. But the suffering, the struggle, that can be very like this emotion. We connect. It's like if you've been through something hard, or parents are like, oh yeah, this is the difficult part of parenting. Or if you've been through cancer, if you had a struggle or something happened in your childhood, or you lost someone, like these mutual sufferings can be connecting points for people. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for deepness, and we're looking for these connections. Okay. And then there's fear, and then there's narcotics and alcohol. And those ones are ones we want to stay away from. But this is very, very powerful stuff. If you can kind of use some of these things and know, hey, this is a natural part of life. How can we channel this energy in a positive way? And you can still express that in a normal way with your partner. However, overindulgence in that behavior and not using, like having maybe a normal amount or decent amount, and then using some of the other energy to connect with here, you're going to be doing yourself a disservice. So know this. Hopefully this was helpful. There's more about it in the book, but this is kind of the main stuff it talks about and something to think about because I think it can rule you or it can help you. Okay, we're next going to talk about the subconscious mind because it talks about how it works day and night. It's always going. And so if you can use your subconscious mind to get better and stronger, you're going to be a lot better off. So the subconscious mind. Okay, it draws from infinite, limitless intelligence. Okay, creative effort is super powerful here. Super powerful. You want to take your desires, the things that you want, and plant them into your subconscious mind. Okay? If you don't, your brain, your subconscious mind is always working. And so if you don't plant what you want, whatever's happening in the world, whatever these people say, whatever drama is happening, whatever negative thinking, whatever fear and worry and doubt is going to be planted in there. And so you want to plant more of the desires of your heart, the things that you want, put all of those things in there so that it can kind of drown out the rest. And that's what's there. If you're not sure what the subconscious mind is, it's the part of your mind operating below conscious awareness, serving as a massive memory bank for experiences, beliefs, emotions, and influencing your thoughts, behaviors, and your automatic actions. To help yourself with this, there are 7 major positive emotions. Okay, these are the ones we want. And then we have 7 major negative emotions. These are the ones we will want to avoid. Anytime you use these emotions, you're programming your subconscious mind. And so the positive ones is that desire when we're putting, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. It's going into our subconscious mind and it's like putting all this good stuff, happiness, money, wealth, success, relationships, all these good, beautiful love things, right? And otherwise we're planting the negative. So plant that desire there. You want to have the emotion of faith. Remember, emotions are powerful. That is key. It's the emotions we feel. Your emotions can bring you down in your life or it can bring you up. And that's why a lot of people are like, this doesn't tell me how to invest in the stock market or how to start a business. But it's these core beliefs, these core mindset shifts, these core actions, this core controlling of your emotions. That's why I talk about money, mindset, habits, emotions is what it's all about. Faith. If you don't have faith, when you have faith, you're able to believe more, do more, be more. When you have love, that is such a strong and powerful emotion. The emotion of sex, that is an emotion. And so that's why we talked about the transmutation of it, because it is an emotion and it can be used to help you and support you. Having enthusiasm, being positive, being energetic. Gosh, that is so powerful. When I'm feeling those things, it just transforms my life. Romance. See, these feelings of romance, love, sex, these are all part of it. And we're naturally given these things by God. And then hope. And so you want to be on this side: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, hope. Feed the feelings into your subconscious mind, and you're going to get more of this good out. Okay? Now be mindful, because on the other side, the negative ones, if you allow yourself to be fearful instead of having faith, you're going to put bad into your brain. If you allow yourself to feel jealous for a while, you're not helping yourself, right? You're focusing on being jealous instead of creating something in your life that's good. Hatred and hating someone, it's the opposite of love. It's the opposite. And we're putting this negative energy. Revenge, how is that helping you build? How is that helping you in your life? It's not. Greed, being greedy. Wanting money isn't bad, but being super greedy and selfish is not going to help attract the good things you want into your life. Being superstitious. having superstitions. Remember, that's kind of feeding into fears. That's not going to help you in your life. It's going to get bad results. And lastly, being angry. I've seen so many people be angry and it doesn't help them get good results. So we want to focus more on this side. Okay, this is your guiding point. Remember, emotions are super, super powerful, right? I have this chart that I could show you really quick. How you feel impacts how you think. How you think impacts how you feel again. And how you feel impacts what you do. And it's this cycle on repeat. And it could even just start with thinking, like, are you thinking some of these negative things? Are you thinking about jealousy? Do you have this in your brain? Are you thinking about the mean things people did, or that this person is so successful and beautiful and stuff, and so then you're being jealous, and then that's created those feelings, and then it created these actions or these inactions, and you're not doing the right actions in your life, you're doing the wrong actions, and then you get the wrong results, right? What are our inputs? If these negative things keep us from doing the right inputs, we aren't going to get what we truly want and what we desire, and honestly, what you probably deserve. Okay, we're human. Things like this happen, but we got to stay away. One really important thing to note: positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. What? Crazy. Know this. So if the reason you got to stay in love, you got to stay in these good emotions, is because it's going to repel all of the hate, all of the fear, all of the jealousy and the things you don't want. So you want to stay in love and in romance and in light and in faith and belief. You got to stay there. And so I want you to notice if you are feeling any of these other guys, notice that so that you could switch it to its opposite, because both of these emotions cannot occupy the mind simultaneously. And lastly, the brain. If you've made it this far, awesome. I hope it's helpful. It has been determined that there are from 10 Oh my gosh, that's crazy. 10 billion to 14 billion nerve cells in the human cerebral cortex. And we know that these are arranged in definite patterns. That's nuts. That's not 10 million. That's 10 billion, 14 billion. Okay, our brains are so powerful. Please don't sleep on the power of your brain. There's a reason. This is called Think and Grow Rich. This is about your thinking. This is about your brain. Your brain will either help you or it will hurt you. Which do you want? Please don't settle for saying, if only blank. If only blank. If only I was prettier. If only I were smarter. If only I didn't go through XYZ. If only I were younger. If only I were older. If only I had rich parents. If only I didn't have anxiety. If only I didn't have self-doubt. All of these things are excuses. Instead of saying, if only I had this, if only this didn't happen, if only this did happen. No, why not you? Were these things in this video super hard to do? Was it explaining all this calculus and x plus yz plus 7498b FGL 796 times 0 divided by 793, whatever. Was it that? No. It was talking about love. It was talking about belief. It was talking about your thinking. It was talking about taking chances. It was talking about sticking with it. It was talking about desire. It was talking about asking others for help. It was being bold, being confident, being a dreamer, doing the work, using emotions positively, having a desire, doing something with your life. It's possible for anyone. People in this book who are super wealthy, some of them, most of them started poor, started with struggle, started with pain, but they just decided what they wanted to do. They had a definite plan and then they stuck with it and they persisted. Like, it really is that simple. It really is. And that's one reason I wanted to build this YouTube channel, is to show you I've done things in my life where I've used these things, but I want to do something really, really hard and show you, hey, this is how I did it. This is how I overcame it, because you can. And you not only can, I know without a doubt, you will. Go crush it.